making her sweaty.
And we're live. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
It's hot out here in California, so if you guys end up hearing the air conditioner on my microphone, sorry, but tough duties because it has to be
hot.
on. It's a survival thing right now.
I feel like Eye of the Tiger is playing in the background.
I'm sure people in Arizona would be like, you don't know what hot is. Like my son, he moved to Glendale, Arizona. So he's in Glendale, Arizona now, and he's totally hating it because they're like going to temperatures like 115 and such.
Whoa.
Hey, Mick, what's up?
Hey, man.
So he moved out there with his girlfriend and her kids. So now he's like, instant daddy and stuff like that. But yeah, it's 115 degrees out there right now. Hey, Jersey girl.
He could become Mr. Mom. You ever seen that movie? I love that movie, Mr. Mom.
Tell me about it. Yeah, he is Mr. Mom out there right now. Yeah. So, so 115. So, look at that's right, Arizona. AZ Mix it. He's in Arizona. Duh, AZ
110. Wow.
Yeah, my son is in Glendale. And, he's like having a hard time adjusting because he was like saying that in Glendale, Arizona, or in Arizona, period. I don't know if it's all over Arizona or just the parts that he's in. But the electricity, they don't charge you certain times of the day. Oh. He was saying certain times of the day that you're not even charged for your electricity. So it like ends up putting like, it puts less stress on you because you have to have your air conditioner on 24/7. Basically over there, he says, to survive. When he first moved over there, him and his fiance had gotten the apartment together. And when they first moved in, the central air wasn't even working right. Ooh. So they were having to sleep in the living room because they couldn't sleep in the bedroom because it was clogged. So... Hey, Zeb, what's up? It's 12 degrees centigrade. What would centigrade be in degrees?
I don't know. It's math. You're on your own. When it's math, you're on your own.
It's math. Hey, Vinyl Kicks, what's up?
Hey, Kicks. Nice to see you on our streams. Hey, Tim.
Kicks is all, Southern Californians don't know what hot is. I mean, he comes from Atlanta. I know that Atlanta gets hot.
Yeah.
It gets hot in here. So take off all my clothes.
Kix has lived here before, so he knows that it doesn't get as hot as where he is.
Hey, Trish. Hey, Tim. Tim's in the house. Tim said, hello, folks.
That's why they call it Hotlanta.
He says 53.6 Fahrenheit.
Well,
so it's only 53 degrees.
So what is that in English? Let me...
53 degrees Fahrenheit.
53
degrees.
Oh,
yeah, so...
So it's winter where Deb is?
I don't know if it's winter or not. Is it winter now? He's in Norway, am I correct?
I mean, what...
Not meaning to dox you, but yeah, he's in Norway. So I think, it's... I don't know if it's winter or not. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
It's not like Australia where when it's summer here, it's winter there.
Because they're upside down.
They're upside down, yeah.
They're upside down. Vinyl Kick says, I haven't lived in Cali before. Too poor, only visited once. It is getting really fucking expensive out here. I don't know if I should go on the whole rant about that, but it is. It's freaking expensive.
There is one place in Cali I won't visit because I've been seeing videos on TikTok about it. It's San Francisco. God, San Francisco.
San Francisco is the most expensive.
Yep.
In California. I mean, I think it's like the ultimate, the kid's mom. Her brother lives in San Francisco.
Wow, how does he
survive? He works for the YMCA, so he has a really, really, really good job. He's like a head director or some kind of shit like that. So, so he works out there and he makes really, really good money. So, and then also I think, he's gay. So his boyfriend actually his family has money and he has really good investments. So they both have really good money. And stuff like that. So they're able to go ahead and live out there.
I don't know about Canada. If I visit Canada, Mike, there's one place that I do want to visit in Canada is British Columbia because I hear it's so beautiful out there.
Well, yeah. Well, you're talking about British... Okay, well.
Canada.
Hey, Dewey, what is up?
He said you're welcome to visit Canada. That's why I said
Jesse, you're welcome to visit Canada, brother. Lisa, you were welcome in Canada too. But, the last time, before when the pandemic hit, I think that was the idea a lot of people in America had. They were going to all run for the border and go to Canada. Of course, you guys told us, get the hell out, stay out. But it was considered. Zeb, give me an example of expensive. It can't beat Norway. In Norway, it's almost like what? like almost $40 for a carton of cigarettes, I think, or something like that.
And he said soda is expensive in Norway too. I remember him talking about Pepsi or Coke being expensive.
Yeah, I mean, they have like some really, really outrageous prices out there. I'm just like, Jesus. Vinyl Kick said, I heard San Francisco has even better weather than Southern California. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the Bay Area. I mean, it's the Bay Area. I lived in not the Bay Area, but I lived in Long Beach for about a year, which, I mean, is pretty comparable to kind of like San Francisco type weather. Did not like it. It's like I don't like living that close to the water. Because I would wake up every morning all phlegmy and, you know, I'd wake up all phlegmy and all, you know, with a cough and stuff. And, you know, being that I'm over here on the border of Tustin and Irvine, I'm not too far from the beach. So we still get that kind of like that beachfront, you know, weather, even though we're like so many miles inland, we still end up getting it over here. And same thing. And sometimes I still wake up with it, you know, especially during the winter. Zeb said, why aren't you choosing to put it messages? Because I'm being lazy, so I'm gonna start doing it now. That make you happy there? There you go, Zeb. Make you happy.
Well, SF does have better weather.
I was reading today. Actually, this is
Go.
I was reading today that Geffen Records. I don't know if you heard about this because I know you're really into freaking K-pop. Hybe and Geffen Records are about to launch a girl group audition show on YouTube. And it says, and Netflix as K-pop business model is exported. They have like, I think it's almost like close to like 20, 25 girls, and they're going to be making a girl group. Talk about manufactured. This is the shit that I'm talking about when it comes to like music that's manufactured. This is like the ultimate manufacturing of music.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of the K-pop groups that are currently, you know, K-pop groups, a lot of them had to go through kind of elimination and audition kind of process. Because there was a guy that almost, I think he has a YouTube channel. He almost made it into BTS, but they decided they didn't need him at the last minute. So they're like, oh, yeah, you're not. No, because you see, the thing is, they do currently also, if you guys are interested in watching K-pop reality show, JYP, who's another company of K-pop, has a show that they're doing right now where they're auditioning women. And the women are going to form a super group, and it's going to be in Korea. JYP, the guy who's in owner of JYP.
Literal K-pop.
The guy who owns JYP, he's a K-pop star. Not a very, very good K-pop star. I'm sorry, but he's not. But the thing about it is Hybe used to be a big hit, and then they changed their name. And Hybe took in another group that was under a failed company called Pledis 17. So this whole show, the idea is to kind of get the Westerners, because out here, besides in Korea, U.S., K-pop is very big in the U.S. K-pop is doing really well in the U.S., so a lot of times you'll see K-pop related stuff in the U.S.
You know, the thing is, I was trying to say that in the U.S., I was saying, okay, K-pop's going to be a fad. It's going to go ahead. It's going to roll in. It's going to roll out. But it's been around for quite a while now.
If you think about it, there's a group called Twice. They played SoFi Stadium like twice this last year.
And it seems like, you know, I ended up watching that one channel where I used to watch her. Her name is California Love 84.
Yeah.
And she used to end up doing like vinyl hauls, and she would show like cassettes and things that she had thrifted. And that's why I started watching her. And now she's exclusively all K-pop. And out of laziness, I still haven't, you know, freaking unsubscribed from her. You know, and every time I see, every day, she ends up making another video where she's having a thumbnail and she's like, gone to see some other K-pop group I've never even heard of. And it's like, I'm like, how many different K-pop groups are there?
There's a lot.
They can't be that these are just K-pop groups that are just strictly in Korea and stuff like that, you know, because I know there's K-pop groups that we may never hear of that they're common in Korea. But wait a second, hold on. So the thing is that they may be common in Korea, but these are acts that she's seeing when they come out here.
Yeah. I mean, there's other countries that also have their own version of what is considered pop. Like there's Chinese pop, there's J-pop, there's K-pop. But yes, K-pop originates in Korea. But you don't have to be Korean to be in a K-pop group, because there's a group right now called Black Swan, and the members are not Korean, but they speak Korean.
Zeb said a 20-pack of cigarettes is $20 plus 4-pack of 1.5-liter Coca-Cola, $13. And then it's supposed to be cheap. One Coca-Cola costs $5 USD.
Well, Tim, I'm glad.
That's crazy.
I
Vinyl
never.
Kicks that can is too cool for my likes. Let me see. They have been manufacturing pop groups for a very long time now. Yes, they have.
Of course. It started out with, if we think early to when they started out, like New Kids on the Block, Menudo.
Hmm.
Even the Monkeys were manufactured. Sorry, Tim, but it's true. Even the Monkeys were manufactured to be a group. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Grunge bands, unless you're talking about tribute bands, we don't really seem to have that many grunge bands out here anymore. In my opinion, we don't.
No,
You know, unless they're doing tributes. You know, prog bands. Yeah, but I think they're like mixing a lot of different genres and stuff like that. They mix prog with all kinds of
prog.
I think they're like mixing prog with different types of like genres of music. So it's like it's not fully just prog.
I think like the first MGMT album might be a little bit leaning towards psychedelic and proggy-ish kind of tones.
I have never heard a K-pop song in my life, and I am so thankful that I include that in my prayers every night.
I include in my prayers every night that MGK won't come to my house and sing me his horrible emo girl song.
Ah, so actually Zeb is saying that actually in Norway they're heavily taxed. But that's the reason why you have such beautiful prisons.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen their jails? Their jails look like freaking like camps and stuff like that.
Wait, do they have a video on it?
I don't know. I could probably look up one, but the thing is they have beautiful like jails. It's like you go in there and they have like plants and you know, it's painted white and stuff like that. Unless it's just the ones that they let us see. I don't know. You know, maybe they have some grubby ones. I don't know. J-pop is the best of the Asian pop music, in my opinion.
Well, I like J-pop and I like K-pop, and I don't like Bit pop. Yeah, there is Bit pop, and I'm not really into that. Oh my
god.
God.
New grunge. Is that something like new metal?
I'm thinking who's new grunge. I don't know any that came out recently.
Yeah. I mean, what would it actually fall under? Like, the grunge sound would be like just considered maybe like the alternative sound, I guess.
Not Nickelback.
I mean that. Oh, please. I mean, they don't call it. You know, I mean, they would just call it like. I remember back in the old days. The 90s. They don't talk like this.
90s not even old.
Everything alternative.
Come on, please. The 90s are not even that old. You're acting like it's old. I grew up in the 90s, and look at me. Do I look old? No.
Remember when they used to just call everything college rock? Like if it was like a little bit unusual, and they didn't know what genre to put in, they'd be like, "Oh, it's college rock." College rock. There it is.
And out here we have the station called KRC. EW or something, and it still plays, and they play a lot of the stuff that you won't hear on regular radio, which is pretty cool. If you guys are out here, listen to that.
Zeb said, "Yeah, many of our jails are like luxury hotels, but that's mostly on the surface."
Really? Our jails in LA are like not even.
Oh well, you know, they're not supposed to be comfortable. Post grunge was the last hip term. Lisa, I'll give you $100 if you play one note on that piano of yours.
My piano is out of tune, man.
Okay, just reach back and press down. Reach back.
I'll play it on a simulated online one.
Well, I was going to make the sound. I was just going ding.
Wait,
see there you play a note.
Wait, let me look it up. Virtual piano.
Foo Fighters still have a little grunge in them, in my opinion.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. But they even kind of went down a little poppy route with some of their music, which, you know, because I saw a video of David Grohl. David Grohl was at Metallica, and guess what? Metallica set the record for SoFi for most attendees at a show. 80,000 people. They sold out.
Did you hear what happened with Rammstein?
I heard about the allegations of the lead singer.
Okay, well, there was the allegations. I guess, you know, slight refresher to the best of my knowledge. Supposedly what happened was there's this girl who was saying that Till, who's the lead singer, had turned around and essayed her, I guess you could say, sexually assaulted. I guess I could say it. I'm not a big channel. But But, she was sexually assaulted. They have this thing called Row Zero, which is, I guess, basically like backstage, but it's actually under the stage. Really freaking weird that's their Row Zero. That's where they meet their fans and shit. But supposedly she went underneath there, met most of the members of the band. Till came in. She met Till, and that Till tried to force himself on her. She said no, and he turned around and was like, okay, and he turned around and walked out. Now, this is the thing is she turned around and said afterwards, he's like, yeah, I felt like, he was pushing himself on me. But then she turned around and said he didn't touch her. So I don't understand. Now, the band has always turned around and said Till did nothing wrong. We've never seen anything like that happen. There's security there who's there to keep us safe and to keep the fans safe, especially for the meet and greets. We've never seen anything like that happen. Record companies said the same thing. Nothing like that's ever happened. Blah, blah, blah. Woo. Well, I guess the German government had turned around and did an investigation. They did a full-on investigation. Well, today, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, they came out and said that they found no evidence of any wrongdoing. They found no evidence that he may have done anything. So they dropped everything.
Yeah, I think, I'm not, it's not a slight hate towards the victims. I think that some women sensationalize their stories because maybe they have something against what?
Oh, no, he's talking about the piano chord. I'm late on the messages, bringing the messages
up.
Look,
do I have to go out and go on my phone and play a song real quick and then mute this one? Then you have me on twice? No, I'm not going to do that.
The first thing I ever heard by Foo Fighters was Big Me and Sound Like the Lemonheads. I was very surprised when I heard more of their music. Yes.
I don't consider them new grunge.
Violent Kick said, there is a German-American girl who covered the Rammstein scandal perfectly on YouTube. It might have been the same girl who covered that Robert Smith scandal. It might have been the same girl. She kind of like digs. She ends up getting from a lot of resources. Maybe not all the resources that she goes to are completely legit. But she ends up digging and she ends up finding a lot of crap.
Yeah.
Let me see. Zeb said, but then again, so many different bands were lumped into the grunge category. Ex-Mudhoney sounds nothing like Nirvana, sounds nothing like Pearl Jam, sounds nothing like Soundgarden, etc.
But Mudhoney is great. Mudhoney is great on their own. They don't need to sound like Nirvana or sound like Pearl Jam or Soundgarden.
Well, there's people that are purists. They'll end up turning around and they'll say, well, the Seattle sound, which was Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden, the originals, they'll end up saying, no, they sound different from all the grunge that came afterwards. All the grunge that came from other cities was not true grunge. Like, that was the true grunge and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I think to me, it all was all pretty much the same sound,
Yeah.
it did come from Seattle. You end up having those bands.
Yeah.
You have like Mother Love Bone and stuff like that. And it's also what killed hair metal.
Because when I was little, I did not understand hair metal. Because when hair metal was big, it was, I want to say it was it was something I saw on MTV as a 7-year-old, 5-year-old. And I had no idea. I'm sitting there, I'm watching Motley Crue. And I'm asking my dad, what the heck is this? And why did the guys have these wild hair? And I'm not even understanding it.
The thing is, I was not into hair metal when it was out. When it first came out, I was not into it. I had a friend, Ed, who was all into it. He was into the hair metal. He was into thrash metal, as they called it at that time, Slayer, Metallica, blah, blah, whatever. Yeah, I was not a heavy metal guy. I listened to Iron Maiden, but it's not like I went out and bought their albums. I was into my music, whatever it was. So what ended up happening is I became older, because of hearing all that music from him playing it in his car when I was in there. I became nostalgic for it. And then as I got older, I started buying the albums and stuff like that. All the old hair metal bands, stuff like that.
Because I was very young. I was very young when a lot of stuff, like when Nirvana came out.
Yeah, I was very a teenager.
When Nirvana came out, I was probably in 4th or 5th grade.
Jesus Christ. So, Lisa, that's it. I'm kicking you off the panel. You gotta go.
91, I was 10. I was 10 or 9 years old in 91.
Tim said, one of my favorite bands, The Posies, finally split up because apparently Ken Stringfellow turned out to be a very naughty boy. A lot of, it's starting to happen with a lot of artists. It seems like they're turning around, they're like, but the thing is that they're getting crucified for things they did a long time ago, even though, there's no, limitation. There's no statute of limitations on doing something horrible like that. But, it's like you've got these women who are coming out now that they're they're in their 40s and their 50s saying, when I was 12 or 13 years old, they did this.
Yeah. Like the Bob Dylan story where the girl came out after 50-something years and said that Bob Dylan did something to her when she was 12, and that was in the early 60s.
How you doing, girlie?
But can you
bad
just
joke,
imagine?
Bad joke.
No, sorry, but just imagine Bob Dylan's voice. When you're no, don't even get.
Oh, you're looking pretty fine there, Lisa.
But
looking pretty fine.
but it turned out it wasn't true, I guess, and they dropped the charges. Because I know there's like a certain statute of limitations when it comes to how long you have before you can report a sexual assault.
I don't know if it has a statute of limitations though.
Out here,
assault.
Out here in California, don't we have a statute of limitations? Like
I don't think I don't think we have a statute of limitations on it. I don't believe. I could be wrong. There you go, Google. Do your job.
Or
Vinyl Kick said grunge was never a definitive sound. Let me see. Zeb said hair metal was a forerunner to the transsexual thing.
No.
You know, if you think about it, it's like
no, we had Divine, we had Lady Bunny.
Well, I mean, you got to think about the androgyny. I mean, that goes all the way back to like what, the 70s with David Bowie and
David Bowie.
So I mean, that androgyny goes all the way back. So I don't think it just started there. Hair metal is one of the few types of music I truly loathe.
Welcome to the
hi,
club.
Royce.
Welcome to the club.
How you doing, Royce? The posies are awesome. Hey, how you doing, Fox Guy? Rainy Day Women, 12 and 13 years old.
Yeah, I heard the story.
You know, if you think about it, and they really start coming out with some of this stuff, I mean, some of the stories that are coming out about like guys like Led Zeppelin and David Bowie, and, you know, like I think we've discussed it in one of our other streams one time about, you know, some of these young girls that they were with and stuff. And it's like everybody just turned a blind eye to it back then. You know, it wasn't right, of course, back then.
No,
you know, I'm not condoning it saying that it was right, but, you know, it's just kind of like, wow, you know, everybody was just like, oh, I guess that's just the way things are, you know. You know, Jimmy Page is going in there with a 14-year-old. That's just the way things are.
Yeah, and David Bowie supposedly got with a 13-year-old. So, you know, it wasn't right. I'm not condoning what Led Zeppelin did. I kind of like was a person that does what a lot of people do when it comes to music. I separate the art from the whatever the hell they did.
Hey, Pauline said, what?
I did that with Jimmy Page. I kind of separated what Jimmy Page did. And I was like, I'm going to still enjoy the music. I know that makes me a shitty person, but yeah, I did that.
Royce said, hi to Guru Velisa.
Hey, Royce. I will check out your show next week.
There might as well be a statute of limitations because it's almost impossible to prove a 50-year-old sexual crime. Yeah, it's true. They might as well.
Yeah.
You know, most definitely. I mean, because from what I understand with David Bowie, it was like him and whoever he was with at the time, like I said, I don't want to sound ignorant because I, you know, don't know who it is, but that he was with at the time. Supposedly, weren't they like in a 3-way relationship with a young girl?
No, well, there's an actual documentary about groupies, and one of the girls who was with David Bowie actually went and visited a bunch of places. She went to the Whiskey Go Go. She went. Her name was Lori Maddox or something. That was one of the women that was with David Bowie. Lori Maddox. I think that was her name.
The other thing that I think is really like strange about like this girl who accused Till from Rammstein of this shit is that she turned around and had on her Instagram, like under her, like, you know, her quote or whatever it may be, she saw girl that was essayed or sexually assaulted by Rammstein or something like that. Like that was in her tag, you know, and it was like, that kind of makes it like suspicious. Like, is that your claim to fame now? You know, did it really happen, or is this what you're saying?
If someone's being sexually assaulted, why would you put that up on your profile? You know, I wouldn't. If someone did that to me, I wouldn't be very happy about it. I wouldn't be bragging about it because that's a very, very sad situation.
Well, I mean, I understand that you want to voice your opinion. You want to like tell people that this had happened. You know, stuff like that. You do want to get the word out that this happened to you and stuff, but are you going to put it, you know, I don't know.
No, but it's just very, very, very unclassy when you put it in your Instagram bio.
I don't know if unclassy would be the word for it. I mean, inappropriate.
Well,
would probably be the word.
Well.
In bad taste, probably, yeah.
In bad taste, because if you think about it, that's a slap in the face to all the women who actually do get, you know,
but we're not saying it didn't happen. We're not saying it didn't happen. So that's the thing is you're saying that slap in the face to all the people it did happen to, but you're not saying that it didn't happen to her. So it's like we can't. It didn't. You know.
But didn't the court prove that he didn't do anything to her? The court
they just said that there was they didn't find any evidence. Yeah. That they found no evidence that substantiated her claims.
Hi,
That's
Mason.
basically what it is. Hey, Mason. Let me see here now. As I've said, there were tons of 12-year-old groupies back in the 70s. Yes, there were.
Yes, there were.
Yes, there were.
There's a lot of
Let me
stories.
see. Hello to AZ Mick. Paulina, the makeup, hair, etc. There are
Hey,
links.
Paulina.
Okay, I know there's a conversation going on between Paulina and Zeb right now about the link between transgender and hair metal. I don't fully agree with it, you know? Don't fully agree with that. Let me see. He wrote Paulina, the makeup, the hair, etc. There are links. Said, hey, Tim Allen.
Just because a man decides to have long hair doesn't mean they're transgender, Zev.
Yes, glam rock was a forerunner to hair metal. Like I was saying, the thing is that glam rock, when it came out, there was androgyny, it was gender bending, and I think that made the glam rock, it made them more comfortable to go ahead and do what they did. Oh. You know, most definitely. But the thing is, I mean, I was watching a documentary not too long ago where they were talking about like the whole Sunset. I think it was actually a documentary on Sunset. It's called Sunset Boulevard, and they were talking about how you know, how punk had like flown through, and a lot of people think that like punk, when it went through like the whiskey and the Roxy and all that stuff, they said a lot of people like make references to it like, yeah, it was the greatest 3 months of our lives. Like it went through so quick, and then glam rock came, you know, hair metal came in.
Yeah.
You know, hey, what is up, Mason? Zip said, hey, Mason. Pauline said, adds that being transgender has nothing to do with hair and makeup because being transgender is not a one-way street. Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I can agree with that.
I am going to let them duke that out.
A long time ago, I knew a woman in her 20s whose greatest claim to fame was sleeping with Robin Zander when she was 16.
Oh, I don't know who Robin Zander is, but okay.
You know who they don't really talk that much about when it comes to groupies and stuff like that? Because they were freaking rabid. They were rabid when it came to groupies. The fucking Go-Go's.
Yeah.
The Go-Go's, I mean, they were like Led Zeppelin but chicks. You know, it's like they want all the cute guys. They would get all the cute guys. And you know what? I know that they say that usually women don't have a tendency, I mean, well, they don't have a tendency to go with underage men. You know, it's not really something that's common. But I have a funny feeling, you know, the Go-Go's got a couple of stories maybe that we don't know about. So
yeah, they probably do. I mean, I think I have a Go-Go's album. I have a Go-Go's album that someone gave me, and I've never played it. Maybe I should.
Okay, there you go. There's a link if anybody wants to join us up on panel, me and Lisa, because you know, Lisa does not bite. Lisa does not bite. We're on both Twitch, and we're on YouTube, and we're on Kick also.
How did I not know? How did I not know what the members of Cheap Trick is? He's in Cheap Trick. Oh my gosh! I've been listening to them for years, and I didn't think to learn the names of the group members. Hey, Mason.
What's up, Mason? Mason's gonna hit us with a Disney. Okay, here we go.
Mason, so any parties this week, Missy?
It's Tuesday. I would hope he's not. No, you know, you've been on the Disney thing the past couple of.
Yeah. Fuck modern Disney.
I
would rather go watch any Disney Renaissance film from the 90s than watch this bullshit they're putting out today.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I still have Mason. I still have my Disney VHSs from when I was a kid.
Yeah, so do I.
And they're not worth much. I looked at The Lion King, and it's only worth $12. And I was like, womp, womp, womp.
Hey, Ricefield, how you doing?
Hey. Oh, yeah, fancy.
Do you guys both have the Little Mermaid with the penis on the cover?
I don't know. I have Little Mermaid somewhere.
I'm going to say no, because my only copy of The Little Mermaid is the 2006 Platinum Edition DVD.
Then you don't. It was the one that was... Yeah.
The plastic ones. I got the plastic ones when they came out. They were these
got a plastic dildo?
No, what the? Oh, my God.
What the? We already went there already. Here we go. Alert. Alert.
Okay,
We've already had one.
To answer your question, I don't own any dirty stuff, so thank you.
No, the one that I'm talking about is
fucking call cap on that.
Okay. No, the original Little Mermaid when it was first released on VHS.
I might
I,
have it somewhere in the house.
I don't know what the full story is behind it. I mean, I had heard the story back then.
Well,
You know,
let me tell you what the full story behind it is. One, there's a scene, and I think that cut. Well, it was a glitch,
King
but
with King
if
Triton,
you
right?
if you look hard enough at the wedding, the priest has a boner.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that was one of the other ones too. Yeah, the priest who's like Lisa size in the, yeah, he's like sitting there. He's like
He's 5'4".
Well, he's like doing the wedding and supposedly has a boner. It's like a lump or something like that. But then they try to like explain what exactly it was, and I forgot how they explained it away, or whatever. Hey, what's up, Scotty?
And there's also, I mean, the thing where in the Lion King, the stars.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
like compilations of it, like
yeah, y'all hear
sex
about
stuff.
this one, Lisa?
What?
You hear about this one? In the Lion King, there's a scene where the stars spell out the word sex.
Yeah,
That's
I know
what
about
I've
that.
heard. Yeah, they say
about
that. But I think that if you really want to see something,
this one actually is proven to be true because I've seen it in the film. Most famously, there is a picture of a naked woman in The Rescuers.
Oh.
yes,
Well,
no, that is true. That is proven.
Yeah.
The guy actually admitted to doing that. Hey, what's up, Paulina?
Wasn't there
The
a
guy had actually admitted to
Did
doing that. He pulled a Fight Club. He like put like that one little spoot. It's like
I mean,
when they're going down the roller coaster,
yeah.
in one of the windows, there's a naked woman. You can see her breasts
I mean,
and stuff. But
didn't a guy do that because he was like pissed off at the? He was the animator for some movie and he got pissed off, so he added scenes he wasn't supposed to. I heard that somewhere.
No. It was in a window. In a window when they're like going on the roller coaster. It's a split second. You really have to pause it, and people weren't really able to see it until the. Let me put a new link out for Tim. People weren't really able to see it until the Laserdisc edition, which came out in CLV or something like that, where you're able to actually do frame by frame. That was when they were finally able to see it. Original VHS copies, you couldn't see it if you paused it. It was like real blurry still. But yeah, when you pause it, it was like a woman who's like, it was like a still from like a girly magazine or something like that. Still something which you consider tasteful, I guess you could say. But also, I mean, during the 80s, I remember they came out with a Pepsi can that they used to talk about. It was a Pepsi can that actually had like, it said, the way that it said Pepsi on the can, it actually was like in neon writing or neon light. So it had like 3 stripes. And when you looked at the stripes and you put 2 cans together, it spelled out sex. Yeah, so that was another one. Hey, how you doing, Tim?
Hey, Tim. How is everyone?
Hanging in there. So yeah, but what I was talking about with the Little Mermaid was it was supposed to be a disgruntled art director who had turned around and had painted a phallic symbol on one of the
well, what happened? I think what happened
posts.
was it was a hidden Easter egg that they were trying to think. I guess they thought that people wouldn't recognize it. Well, people did recognize it. On the VHS cover, I'm pretty sure it was the original first copy. Yeah, on the VHS cover, it's pretty easy to make out a fucking penis in the palace.
Yeah, it's never a dull moment on the stream. We go from talking about groupies to sexual Disney stuff.
Yeah, but I know a lot about that. The thing about that is it happened, and it probably happened on purpose, and all that's probably true, but people think it's rare or something, and it's not, or that they pulled it. They never pulled it. They sold every copy they made of it, and then when they repressed it, they changed the cover, but they never pulled it. They never changed the cover. There's millions
that's
of
the one.
And
that's the one.
Yeah, I wonder how a 7-year-old me might have gotten that out on that in my collection. My parents weren't thinking.
Looks like a wiener to me. Looks like a wiener to me.
Yeah, when I was little, I was like, is that a bread or something?
I love Laserdisc. I used to look for Alfred Hitchcock in the movie Rope, his appearance, and I could never find him till the Laserdisc came out. And then when I saw the Laserdisc, I'm like, that's brilliant. You know where he is in Rope? He's not actually in it, like Lifeboat. he's not actually in it. In Lifeboat, on the boat, somebody's reading a newspaper and there's a fat, skinny ad,
Oh.
and it's Hitchcock is both in the fat,
Oh
skinny ad in the newspaper.
my!
That's where he is in Lifeboat. In Rope, it takes place, in real time. There's no cuts or anything, right? And it gets darker out this fake window and stuff. It gets darker. And once it gets dark out, there's this blinking neon sign behind them. And on VHS, it's too blurry to see it. But on DVD or Blu-ray or even Laserdisc, it's the famous Hitchcock outline. It's his silhouette blinking in the background.
Yeah. I've
Didn't
always
like-
wanted to see
Crap,
too.
there he is.
Well, Hitchcock always used to stick himself in his own films. Didn't he do cameos in every
Yeah.
single film he ever directed? Yeah, every single film he ever directed, he
in
would like.
very, very early days. And it started because he didn't have a budget, and he would do crowd scenes.
Yeah.
So he would stand in the crowd with everybody else just to have another person there. And
Yeah.
that's how it started.
Uh-huh.
But then he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, then in this one, I'll just be walking down the sidewalk,
Uh-huh.
He's walking down the sidewalk in a lot of them, but I'm thinking of The Lady Vanishes. He's walking down the sidewalk carrying this big like double bass, and he gets on the train, and it's like he's just an extra basically. And then they got more and more, obvious, like
Yeah.
the second version of The Man Who Knew Too Much. They're sitting in the back of the bus, and Hitchcock is sitting between them. I mean, it's just so, you got Jimmy Stewart, Alfred Hitchcock, and Doris Day sitting on this bus.
Oh,
I mean, that
three
was
great
so
actors. Three great actors.
Zeb is saying, "Damn, Tim looks pale against the rest of the panel." I guess it's his camera. He's looking
I
kind of
never
pale.
upped my camera to 720p. Maybe someday.
You know what? It's okay. It's okay.
Let me see. It said, wasn't Hitchcock some kind of talking about a sexual predator?
Oh no, he was.
I had never heard anything like that.
I've never heard anything about that.
Had the Colorado Pet Patrol on him then.
No.
Yeah, I had never heard anything like that. I mean,
No, I mean, I never saw a lot of
married
Hitchcock.
his wife. When would he be? Especially on the set. His wife was in charge of continuity on every film he ever made. She was there for every scene. No. No.
I know that. I remember one time watching a documentary on one of the. It was like one of the behind the scenes of one of the movies or whatever that he had made. I think maybe it was like one of those anniversaries of the Birds or something of that sort. And they were talking about what a jokester he was. That he was always playing practical jokes. They said that he used to love that. They didn't realize how much fun he was. They were like saying, they always see, because I mean, the Hitchcock that we know of, he always looks very stern and he's talking like this and he's very. But they said he was really actually very funny.
Oh, he's not. Watch. It's like 5 minutes long, but it's probably on YouTube somewhere. If you've never seen it, watch the trailer for Psycho. It might even be 10 minutes long. It's really long, but he takes you through the house and everything, and he's doing it so tongue in cheek. Like he gets to the bathroom and he opens the door. He goes, "Nah, never mind. We're not gonna go in there."
I still think that fall in Psycho is like the greatest. Where he's like, it's like an hour. He's all.
Yeah.
And it's like funny because didn't they say they didn't use like any kind of like real like visual effects on that? Like it was just like a steady camera or something on him, and when he was going down the stairs.
He invented that. All they did was have Jimmy Stewart lay down on the floor, put the camera close to him, and then on a rig they just pulled the camera up, and it looked like he was falling. That's exactly how they did that. I
remember back in 1989, I went to Universal Studios with my family, and they showed you how Hitchcock made all those things. They showed the Psycho thing. He showed you, especially that effect, like how they did made that effect happen when it was falling. And I was like, that is so interesting. How real life
That's
they made it.
What's wrong with film today. You don't need money. They just throw money at problems today. They used to think about them and just throw imagination at solving problems. It's way better.
Yeah.
No ingenuity. I mean,
You
there's
think
no
about the
ingenuity
pro-
now.
Yeah,
use your
exactly.
head and think of something for nothing to get out of this, and
Yeah.
the thing
usually it
about it is,
works
you think
pretty
about the whole
well.
process back then of how, you're more impressed back then because you're like the whole way that they uh, shot their films back then, and the different stunts and techniques they pull
Hmm.
are
Yeah.
were way more impressive back then with the
Well,
Yeah.
minimal amount of
Yeah.
technological advancements they had then compared to now. Now, that shit's so easy to do. You can just run it through a
Uh,
computer and have it done like that. But back then, they actually had to, they actually, those stunts and techniques and stuff probably, they probably took a lot of practicing to go to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
A
yeah.
lot of time and hard work when it probably went into
you ever
that.
see like one of
Yeah.
these no budget film noirs that cost like 100 grand or something like that? There'd be a
Hmm.
car crash, and the car would be going along, and then you'd hear the noise and the crash, and it looked like, I can't swear that this is what
Yeah.
they did, but it's brilliant if they did. It looked like they tied a piece of rope to a rig, took the camera off its stand, rolled it around the rope a couple times, and then just let it fall. So the camera's doing this.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like a
like
car crash.
if that
The
you,
camera's
you can
and there you go. There's your car
you
crash.
can
I
bet
mean,
that if that were made today, then
no, but don't they hire
it
people?
would not be as impressive
Don't
if
they
that were
hire
Well,
made
people
yeah.
to do
today
that?
compared to
I
then.
swear they hire people to do footsteps. They hire people to do noises for movies.
Oh no,
You-
they have sound guys, but the cheap that those at that they just use leftover stuff, and
Yeah.
the sound effects were mostly taken from stock
Yeah.
stuff. That, and when you're talking that low of a budget.
Yeah.
You know what's hilarious? I was watching this thing on Friedkin, and he was talking about sound design and stuff like that. And he was talking about the guy who did the sound effects on The Exorcist is the same guy who did all the sound effects in El Topo. And he said that he had gone to see El Topo with freaking John Lennon and all of them and heard the sound effects in El Topo and was like going, you know what? That's the guy I want. I want that guy to do the sound effects for my movie. And they're like going, El Topo, Exorcist, you're making a movie about a possessed girl. How do you figure it's going to work? That's the guy I need. I need that guy. And he said this guy ends up pulling up to the freaking studio, right, on the day they're going to do like these overdubs. And he says this guy gets out and he basically is like this Mexican dude with huaraches on, and he like scuffles in and he turns around and basically, just like you would get like when you're gardeners, I'll say that because I have family that's gardeners. I can say that I'm Mexican. But, he turns around and he goes, he's like showing him the scene with her head turning around. And he turns around and he looks at it and he does like the typical Mexican things. I can do. So he turns around and he goes, he says he looks at it for a minute or two and he goes, and he looks at one of the sound guys has a leather wallet. He goes, give me your wallet. He goes, what? Give me your wallet. And he turns around and gives him the wallet and he goes around and he goes, like, play it back again. And they start spinning the head and he takes the leather wallet and starts like twisting it. And he goes, and he said this guy just started making all these noises from stuff that he was just like grabbing from people.
That's
and he's
amazing.
like, oh, see, that was the guy. I told you he was the guy I needed.
It's amazing when they use that.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
you ever seen a lot of movies used to have, people used to listen to radio shows,
Uh-huh.
plays on the radio, and
Yeah.
a lot of movies would have little pieces of these in them, and it's fascinating watching these people because this is what they really did. They'd have a box of sand on the floor.
Yeah.
They'd have some tin foil for lightning. They'd have whatever they'd have, and they would do this live. They'd be live on the radio making all these sound
Hey,
effects.
Dwayne.
Yeah. No, totally.
Baseball
Totally.
announcers, people don't know this. When they used to run baseball games, even into the 50s, maybe even into the early 60s, these guys weren't at the game. They were sitting in the studio and they would have a teletype going along is what was happening in the game, and they'd have an applause nod that they would do. Then they'd have a baseball bat and a block of wood when they got a hit. And they would just have all these sound effects that they would use. And
Duh.
Yeah. No. I know. My dad told me about that.
And they would, and
Yeah, my dad told me about that growing up when he's Lone Ranger. He used to listen to the Lone Ranger on radio, and they had all the sound effects. Yep. That was their thing. That was their thing. They did every night was they turn on the radio, and whatever was on, they would listen to it. They'd sit by the radio. Yep.
That's the
away.
Using the coconuts for the horses' hooves. Well, they really did that. That's the joke. Going like this with coconuts.
I was fascinated by that.
Entertainment like that on the radio.
I was fascinated by that.
No, you don't. He's like, I'll bring Lisa in. She needs to change her hooves.
Well, I remember when I was like about I was either 9 or 10 years old. I used to experiment a lot with recording and stuff like that because every time that someone gave me like a tape recorder or something like that, I would like use it. And so I remember I had a cousin that come over, and we did like some type of song on it that was sort of like a Sky Pilot by the Animals, and we were trying to recreate like those kind of sound effects like that happen in the middle, and we got like these toys that had like these kind of like shooting sounds, and we're just yelling at each other and listening to it back. I was like, this is like the most genius thing I ever done in my life. It sounded real. It sounded like as if you were at war and like all these things were going around and shooting. We're using like the Star Wars kind of sounds and stuff. So it's amazing to do sound effects.
Well, I mean, it's like you have people like, what was his name? Was the one who did sound effects for Star Wars? What was his name? Ken Burt or something like that, I think. He did like sound effects for all kinds of different movies, not just Star Wars. But they were talking about how like he had gotten like the laser sound was I guess the wire that they used to like actually steady telephone poles and shit like that. Like he would go up to that and he'd put a mic up and he'd hit the end of it and he'd run the microphone up and it would like make a or sound or whatever. That's how you got the pew 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 and stuff like that. It's like I don't even think they do stuff like that anymore. It's like now they just turn around and they have like they have a program like what we were taught in
they can replicate that exact same sound but much less impressively because whereas those guys actually had to put some hard work and time and perfection into it, now all you got to do is get your computer out. We can do it on there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead and download a whole bank of sound effects. You can go ahead, 5 minutes. You can purchase a whole bank of licenses.
With the technological advancements that we've had over the decades, it's become that simple now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really have to like.
Job just going around and taping stuff. Whatever you thought was interesting, you taped it. You brought your tape recorder.
Your dad was 93. Wow. Yeah, I remember, Dwayne, when the first TV came to my dad's house. It was a big deal. This was like the mid-50s, and the neighbor down the street had got his very first TV. And my dad was so excited. He was a little kid, right? So he would go to the neighbor's house to watch TV because his family at the time really couldn't afford a TV because they were expensive in the 50s. So he'd go to his neighbor's house, and they would just pile up, and they would watch TV. It was a big deal. Whoever had TV back then. All the kids were like going to their house.
I never saw any documentary. I mean, I'd never heard of anything. This is the first time ever hearing of any allegations on Hitchcock.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. You guys,
I've never heard it either. I don't believe it. I'm not saying that he was.
Didn't have that experience when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And then when
your dad's probably the same age as my dad.
And then when my generation were kids, I just remember just like how
Blue's
big
Clue.
Of a mind-blowing deal it was when the first smartphones were coming out.
Yeah, the first smartphone came out when my brother graduated high school, 2007. I mean,
That's
the first,
I remember people were, like you said with your dad with TV, how it was so new to him as a kid. Like this stuff, when this stuff first came out, it was like we were thinking, wow, this is like the next big deal,
Yeah, well, because when the first color TV came out, my dad's neighbor had the color TV, so the kids would always go and watch they had this thing they would do every Saturday. You could watch 23 cartoons for like 10 cents, 15 cents. And you just go, and the movie theater would play 23 cartoons, and that's how my dad spent his Saturdays, is going to the movie theaters. There's a lot.
The kid's mother, her father is still alive, and he's 86 years old. Yeah, so he's up there. So he remembers old time radio. You know, it's like he remembers before televisions when they, you know, used to listen to the radio and he used to listen to his serials, you know, on the radio and stuff like that. And I remember him telling my kids about it one time, a long time ago, telling my oldest son about it. You know, we never watched TV. I was, you know, we used to have our radio shows and they came on at 6 o'clock right after dinner.
Yep.
You know, we'd run over there and, you know, we'd eat dinner at 4:30 or 5 o'clock and we'd go right over there. We listened to the radio show at 6 o'clock and then we were in the bathtub and we went to bed by like 7:30 or 8.
Exactly.
You know, stuff like that. And he was just like, my son was like, wow, really? God damn.
No, it's true. It's true because my dad used to always have his dinner at 5, right? My grandma used to make him a special dinner on Saturday called Franks and Beans. That's a Boston thing. And so he would always have that every Saturday. And then my grandma would put on the Lone Ranger for him. And he would listen to that while he's eating his Franks and Beans.
Hey, Dave, how is Jen doing? Is she doing better? I hope she is. You know, there we go. Out come the snowman.
Well,
out goes the snowman.
Yeah,
for Dave.
Well, there was a time in America where families ate together and you didn't watch TV while you were eating, believe it or not.
What a concept. What a concept.
I know.
I know, it's really weird. People were strange back then. They had actual conversations and they knew.
Yeah, we used to back in the 80s.
It's really weird, I know, but.
I mean, we used to have conversations. Then my parents got me Nintendo when I was 5.
I was a kid, we didn't watch TV while we ate. There was no. We didn't actually have a TV in the kitchen when I was a kid. We didn't watch TV when I ate.
Well, our TV.
We all sat at the table
broken.
and we ate together. We all got up when everybody was done, and we had dessert, and then we went and did, you know.
Yeah, I think that started more towards the 90s. Kids watching TV. Parents would just put them in front of a TV and be like, "Here, have your TV dinner."
That's definitely the way I grew up. To be honest with you.
Unless you were the Baines family in 1955 that they fixed their TV and they're like, hey, it's going. Now we can watch Jackie Gleason while we eat.
Oh, the honeymooners too.
He's all, come on, Mom. You know, we have 2 TVs. 2 TVs.
Yeah.
No one has 2 TVs. Oh, he's pulling your leg. You must be rich.
Disgusting. This is when he's an astronaut.
I hope she feels better, Dave.
This is a classic.
Just drink plenty of water. Plenty of water. Because it's hot today.
I wish you the best, Dave.
I hope Jen gets better.
Does she have the flu or something, or she's not feeling the weather? She's feeling the weather or
because
condition.
this weather can really get to you. It's hot, and sometimes I get dizzy when it's hot. So I have to remind myself
It's
to drink a lot of water.
freaking muggy out there. My daughter, who was, you know, young and healthy, she went out there to walk the dogs right now. And when she went outside, she opened the door and she's like, oh my gosh, so it's freaking horrible out there. And I was like, I know, because we're staying inside the house, like wasting all my money.
I just got back. I just got back right now from Winco, getting some groceries, and yeah, it's bad out there. It's like humid and sticky.
Yeah.
We had a quote unquote cool day today, probably only in the upper 70s.
Hey,
I swear there's 120% humidity. So you open the door and go out, and you're still hot. The sky is covered in clouds, and it's just like you're underwater, like you're under warm water. It's like, oh, it's horrible. I'd rather have it hot.
What TV shows that I was watching one time when they were talking about TV used to be respectable. TV had class. It knew when to go off the air. It went off at midnight.
Sounds like the George Carlin thing.
Yeah, and there was
stomach issues.
Frequencies.
I'm sorry to hear about that.
People don't understand this. It was VHF and UHF.
I understand that, Hot Frog. It's no fun.
2 different dials on your TV, and you know.
And it's like my kids like trip out when I end up telling them, like, I remember before we had remote controls. Yeah. You know, because when I grew up, we didn't have.
You got up and changed the channel.
Yeah.
And non-digital TVs were great because when like HBO and stuff came along, and we had cable by then, but we didn't have HBO. You could.
Oh wait,
you
I mean,
HBO
is probably a game changer.
Right?
I mean, you can watch movies on live TV,
you know,
without commercials.
I remember.
Basically,
you could kind of see it, because I remember in the early days, HBO used to show the Beatles Let It Be a lot. I got an audio recording. I got a really good audio recording directly. I took the back off the TV and hooked my tape recorder up to the speaker, so I was getting the direct feed from the TV.
No, I totally remember. I totally remember.
And I didn't have HBO.
You don't remember this, Mason, but in the 80s, our TVs had dials, Mason. You remember that? Dials? Where you would actually have to turn the dial to get to a channel?
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't.
You know, I don't remember. I don't remember that from my lifetime, but, you know, my grandparents have told me stories about how, you know, but in the days before the remote control.
Yep, we didn't have remote control in the 80s.
I'm probably older than Mason's grandparents.
Well,
they were like 12. Me and my brother, my mother.
My grandparents were in high school in the 60s.
Yeah, Tim, I think they might be old.
I was in elementary school in the 60s. My parents, when I was like 12, got a console TV, color console TV for the living room. It was their first color television. They just had a little black and white before that, and sat on a rack in the kitchen. And they talked about it for a couple of days. And then finally, one day, they called me and my brother into the living room, and they said, we can have the black and white TV in our bedroom. And we just looked at each other like, you're kidding me. No, and it was great for them. It was the best decision they ever made, because they didn't have to watch anything that we wanted to watch anymore. We wanted to watch something. Go in your bedroom and watch it. So we did. So they got to watch what they wanted to watch. And my brother we agreed on almost anything. So we never argued about what was on TV. You know, it was
I wish my siblings were like that.
Get Smart and the Twilight Zone and stuff. But like, I never saw Get Smart in color till probably about 1980.
Wow.
And we will probably never see colorized versions.
I mean, I'm glad your siblings never argued,
because it would be disrespectful to Rod.
No. But I'm talking about shows that were in color. Like, I remember I was sick. I was sick one Christmas when I was like 13 or something like that. So I'm home from school, and my mother stayed home because I was really sick. I was running a really huge temperature, and she was trying to get me better by Christmas. And so I could watch whatever I wanted on TV in the living room, which was a rare thing. I'm on the couch, and Green Acres came on. And this is like 1973 or something like this. And I'm seeing Green Acres in color for the first time in my life.
Yeah, because Green Acres is a place to
black
be.
And white.
Yeah, I was watching an old they were talking about Sammy Davis Jr. and they're talking about how he was on Playboy After Dark, and I guess there's this episode they're showing where Sammy Davis Jr. was like talking to Hugh Hefner, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you got to hear this. This is my latest record." Da, 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 da. And he goes, "Okay," so he goes on over. He's like, "We're gonna groove with it. We're gonna groove with it." He puts the record on, and he goes and he turns it on. He turns on the stereo, and he's like, "Oh, you gotta wait a minute. Gotta let the stereo warm up first before it plays the tunes." You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it must have been like a tube system or something, because it was an old system. But because they had to wait maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and he goes, "Okay, there it goes. Now it's playing. Now you can feel it."
A good amp was still tube into the mid 70s. A good one. They started.
This was like the 50s, I think.
Transistor amps, but anybody that wanted anything good still wanted tubes into the mid 70s.
I was cracking up when he was saying we were the remote control. The reason why I was cracking up about that is my mom used to do that to me. It's like to go out the front door. Of course, I had to run past the front of the TV to run out the front door, and she'd be laying on the couch, or whatever, and she'd turn around and be like, "Oh, stop! Change the channel." And I'd go over there and change the channel, and she'd be like, wait a minute. No, I've seen this. Change it again. And I go, change it. But wait a minute. No. Change it again. And I'd be sitting there changing channels until she's like, "Okay, yeah, you can leave it there. Okay, go ahead, get out."
Yeah, my mom used to be kind of anal about putting us in front of the TV. She'd be like, "You need to get out and exercise." She would and then when I got my Nintendo, that's all I ever did was sit in front of the TV and play Duck Hunt and Super Mario. My mom was like, that was not a good investment, but I was on that every day.
The worst was when you weren't expecting it, and out of nowhere, the words no one wanted to hear the previously scheduled program will not be seen, so we can bring you this. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. But sometimes it was good though, because I mean, you're getting your like Christmas special or something. You know,
It was good, but a lot of times.
Or they they have like an emergency newscast, and you're like, no, I don't get to see the rest of my
Yeah,
show.
and you know, back in the day, once upon a time, people actually went to bed. 24-hour broadcasts were not a thing.
Oh, no.
this is true.
Oh,
The
TV
TV would actually shut off the static
places
at
TV
night.
still ends. Some channels still end at midnight, I think, but not very many.
You would get there's YouTube channels that have it where they have like the that I'm like going to blank. Am I having a stroke? National anthem. There you go. At the end of the night, and they're telling you, you know, like they do the call off letters, tell you that the transmitter is on Mount whatever, and
broadcast,
yeah,
and then it just cuts to static.
There were a lot of local communities that had laws. You had to. Radio too. Radio went off at midnight too.
Well, I mean,
wasn't
back
just
in the
TV.
day,
Radio
people actually went to
midnight.
bed. You know, people actually went to bed at night.
Because we didn't.
Thing is a graveyard shift.
No, and we didn't have phones. We didn't have like smartphones in the 90s, so the kids actually went to bed at a decent time.
Well,
we went to bed at a decent time. Well, I did.
We also didn't have
I was
internet.
a kid and a young man.
I remember when I was in elementary school or high school, me and my friend had a notebook that we would write notes to each other. No, I was in high school in 2001. I was in high school in 2001. That's 21 years ago.
I've got underwear older than that.
Of course you do. But when I tell a kid I graduated in 2001, like Mason's age, they're like, ooh, you're old. And I'm like, really? Really? Like,
I
people
graduated
Mason.
in 2019.
Oh, you're a baby. Get the hell out of here. You're a baby, man.
The best thing about growing up and being a young man when I was, if somebody called you on the phone, the first thing they asked you wasn't, where are you? They knew where you were because you were home, because they called
Of course.
you.
I'm sure a lot of you guys remember before there was smartphones and even cell phones, like before texting and email, you actually sat down, got a pen out and paper and wrote a letter.
Oh yeah.
Well, people still do that, you know, Mason. It's not ended.
I know, but it's not as prominent anymore.
You know, people still value the old things from yesteryear.
We still have to write a letter to our essays.
We still write letters, Mason. Just because we got older doesn't mean we forget what we did when we were young.
Yeah, we'd see this and we knew it was time to go to bed.
Yeah.
This is a later one, but some of these actually had subliminal messages.
Ooh.
This one was like 1978 for KABC in Los Angeles. But this one used to tell you, in 1978, they would turn around, they would tell you, it'd be like, oh, and if you wanted for more exciting like programming, go to KABC Radio, blah, 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 like the radio was still on.
I might have seen this as reruns in the 80s.
Maybe in the 80s, they might have been using the same one for all you know.
Yeah, no, they didn't change them very often.
No.
Yeah,
because,
I mean, they used the same one for years and years and years.
Because when you're in
TV's
elementary
gonna come
school,
on now, apparently.
because when you're in elementary school, they play that. We saw those things in elementary school when they would roll out the cards.
And that was
put that on.
For viewing our TV station this evening. Please join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and we'll bring you some new programming for the day.
Yep.
God bless
Yep, Fox Guy.
This concludes our
That's
broadcast
the one I
day.
always heard. This concludes our broadcast.
Yep.
Yeah, this concludes our broadcast day.
Yeah, because, you know, when you're little and you see Walter Cronkite on TV, you knew that something special was happening.
If you were born after 1996, you don't know what a beeper or pager
Now,
is.
when I was little, you saw Walter Cronkite every night.
I don't think we have too many people born
And
after
that's
96.
the way
watching
it is. That's the way it is.
Trekker, that's how we
Walter
communicated.
Cronkite pops up like anytime during the day when he's not supposed to be on. You know something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
something.
You're like, oh shit, something's happening. Who did
Come
what?
on, Trekker. That's how we communicated back in the day. Was with the beepers and the pagers.
And then you sat down to watch your favorite show, and you'd see the cast sitting together on a couch, and you knew you were in for a terrifying, very special episode.
Yeah.
Well, that was me every time I watched Married with Children with Al Bundy. He was always on some sort of couch.
Well, no, that's the thing about all those programs. You know, the very special episodes were just clip shows. They were just, you know, reruns with a little bit of new stuff in between, introducing, you know.
I remember
stuff.
I remember it.
And every show did that. Even through the 90s, every show still did
Or you ended up getting like a show like Different Strokes, where, do you remember the one where, it's not funny, but the one where, remember where the bicycle shop guy who was actually, what's his face from WKRP in Cincinnati, was touching the kids and stuff, and they did that same thing. This is a very special episode, blah, blah, blah. And they're all sitting on the couch thing, like, it's a very special episode, blah, 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 blah. And stuff. Yeah, but it's true what he said. When they did that, you were like going, oh man, they're going to be like laying some shit down.
Yep.
They're going to be getting serious. Let me see on the CBC. All right.
Good night, Mason.
Good night, Mason. Thanks for stopping by, though.
Yeah. Take care,
All right,
everybody.
talk to you later.
Bye.
Let me see. Hop Frog is this supposed to be talking about the thing? Oh no, I remember this. And if it's the bars that they need. Yep. Well, Hop Frog, you grew up here in California, so you probably saw that then. You probably saw KBC 7. We were still using beepers in the very early 2000s. My kids cringe when I used to tell them about their mother. Because I tell them, you know, when I first met your mother, man, I gave your mother my pager number. She kept on just blowing it up. Your mom kept on, like, typing in her number with 69 at the other side. They're like, ew, gross. You did not. I haven't watched a Wood Girl video in I don't know how long. She hasn't made a new one in a while.
Yeah. I never had a
Last
beeper.
one she made, she was traveling.
Yeah, last video I saw she was on a plane.
I have new crushes. I know I'm over with it.
Yeah. Didn't somebody, was it you who said, Lisa, that she's like doing work, TikTok and Instagram now or some shit like that?
No.
Instagram, okay.
I don't keep up with Wood Girl.
I do. That's how I know.
I don't have Instagram, so.
In England, they had a girl with a Jack in the Box when the networks went off air, and that is what the Jimmy lyric and the Wind Cries Mary reference. Oh, really? Okay. I did not know that. After all the Jacks are in their boxes. Okay. Wow, okay. Never knew that.
My TV crush. I have a lot of TV crushes.
Was it MASH one of the last two? I could have sworn that MASH was on a little bit earlier. It was on like at 8 p.m. They were on Channel 2, weren't they, on CBS?
No, there would be the late night news, and then you know, a lot of the stations didn't actually stop till like 1 because the late night news, like NBC would have the Tonight Show, whether it was Jack Parr or Carson or whatever, and that was on past midnight. But then after that would be it. And some shows would show a late night movie. But usually, so it wasn't usually midnight, but usually like by 1 they were gone. 1 or 2 at the latest.
Take your shirt off, Dudley. Oh, I don't know what that's in reference to, but seems interesting.
Are you talking about Dudley Moore? No, I thought you were talking about Dudley Moore.
Kelly Bundy made me discover I was a man.
No. When I was young, I was into Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement. Had all his posters. I got them from Bop and Tiger Beat and 16. Paulina remembers those magazines.
Remember Saturday night, the Disney movie? I thought that was Sunday night. I thought, I remember the Sunday night Disney movie.
No, we had it on
for
Saturday.
The Sunday night Disney movie.
Yeah, no, the Wonderful World of Disney was Sunday night.
Yeah, that's what I remember most. Is the Wonderful World of Disney, and they ended up giving you like a little
it was on after Mutual of Omaha's.
Yeah.
No, we had Saturday. We had Saturday night of Disney. Maybe that was when I was a kid, but we had Saturday night Disney movies.
Saturday night Disney. I remember. Yeah, but you're younger than me. That's probably why, Lisa. Because I remember Sunday night.
There's probably a Disney.
Wait, when did they stop doing Sunday night movies? They probably might have did it into the 80s too.
Because I remember they used to do different stuff where, like you said, it was Mutual of Omaha would be the first thing came on, and then Disney thing would come on, and sometimes they would not even play a movie at all. They do like this thing where they would do a cross promotion where they were trying to show off something that happened at Disneyland.
Yeah,
or they were trying to like show you like this new ride, or
sometimes there would be a nature documentary. There would
yeah,
be all kinds. It wasn't always a movie.
I mean,
okay, hold on, I'll be right back.
I remember, School of Rock on Saturdays. We had the Saturday cartoon, and I used to learn conjunction. What's your function?
They were still showing that then because they had that when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that was later. Probably I was like 12 or 11 or something.
Yeah, I saw that in the 80s. They were playing School of Rock in the 80s.
Yeah, because that's an early 70s thing.
Also, they were playing H&R Puffin stuff too.
Junction. What?
Yeah, because
the only time that you'll see H&R Puffin stuff was like around 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Because I used to have an uncle that used to stay up all night and record them on VHS because he loved watching those stuff. So I just remember, he was always be watching them on TV, and I'll be like, "What the fuck is this shit?"
I remember the first time
when they were new.
I remember the first time I saw that.
Mornings, I watched H.R. Puffin stuff and Sigmund the Sea Monster and Lidsville and the Bugaloos. All of that I saw when I was a kid.
And Captain Kangaroo. I watched.
I was watching those. I was watching those, and I was like wondering, like, so how stoned should I be to get what's going on? Because
they were bad, and there aren't that many. I mean, that's the thing. They made these shows, and they didn't make that many, and they just reran the same ones over and over.
Yeah, because I saw it as a kid, H&R Puffin stuff, and I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
I thought I was
I'm old enough to have seen it all when it was originally on.
Because I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, "What?" And then I saw Willy Wonka as a kid, and that scared me. The whole boat scene.
See, there you go, Trish. So I love Mutual of Omaha's. It was Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Why do I think of Jack Hanna was on that show? Was he?
Later.
Okay. So I'm thinking of Jack Hanna.
When I first started watching it, there was a guy named Jim. I don't remember Jim's last name. But it was always like, while I set up camp, made coffee, and got lunch ready, Jim was out wrestling alligators. It was always Jim's out doing all the stuff. Marlon's just back reading a magazine, hitting a couple of tent stakes. Marlon was never out there in any danger.
Yeah, Star Trekker. I remember the Nickelodeon Pete and Pete.
That's the other one I remember.
Quister explains it all.
I'm just a bell, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function? I have that TV somewhere.
Yeah, because they would air it in the 80s as reruns. And so I would watch it on Saturdays on Channel 7. They would have it in the morning.
My mom
on CD. I have it somewhere.
You know what? I think that's where I get my sense of humor from my mother, because she'd say that when I would do something stupid. She'd look at me and she'd go, "Hey, conjunction function. What's your function?" So yeah, she always had smart ass remarks and stuff like that.
AGJ trash.
I had an uncle who stayed up watching his neighbors with binoculars. Oh, that's chismoso. I do that when I hear the neighbors arguing. No, I don't get binoculars, but they're like in the window. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to have to call the cops? Did you know that the genie from Lidsville was Witchy Poo from H&R Puff stuff? Oof.
No, I did not know that.
I thought it was.
I don't remember the genie from Lidsville, to be honest.
Mr. Wizard. That's how I used to feel when I had my first freaking... Was it the microphone I had where it had that thing and it would like be in my face? I'd be like, "Oh, I see Lisa and Tim and Paulina." It felt like Romper Room.
Wait, wasn't Leonardo DiCaprio on Romper Room?
I know he was on Roseanne.
No, I could have sworn he was
Was
on
on
Romper Room.
He was on an episode of Roseanne. I remember it was, and I don't even think he was credited. It was an episode where she was doing a home ec class, and she's taking them to the market, teaching them how to buy hamburgers. They're going to make chili or something like that. And he was like one of the students and stuff like that. And he was like,
I love Roseanne. Roseanne really, really was a good show.
Stephen Dorff was on there too.
Yeah.
He played Jimmy Meltrigger. There you go.
Yeah.
Jim Fowler. Are you talking about the record producer? Oh no, I'm thinking about Kim.
Oh,
that
Jim
Kim
Fowler.
guy.
No,
Yeah.
that was his name. That was his name, Jim Fowler. Now that I hear it,
Really?
That was Jim's name on Mutual of Omaha's Wild.
Okay, there you go. I was thinking of the other guy, Kim, whatever his name is.
Jim. Yeah, you're thinking of
The
Kim
pervert.
Fowler.
Yeah.
Jim Fowler, that was his name. And then
Oh, there you
way
go, Dave.
later came the other guy, whatever his name.
So 3693, it's magic number.
Yeah.
I remember that Star Trekker. I used to watch that show all the time. I loved it.
The Smurfs
Yeah.
were
They
weird.
should bring it back.
I mean, you know, there's shows that you grow up as when you're a kid. I watched, what did I watch? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
There it is.
I watched Zoom. You remember Zoom, Paulina? I used to watch Zoom.
Conjunction
Never heard
junction
of
with
it.
your
You
malfunction.
never watched Zoom?
Must have been an LA thing.
It must have been an LA thing, Zoom. But
No,
yeah, we had
was
Zoom.
national. Zoom was national. We had Zoom. I didn't watch it. I was too old for Zoom when it
Well,
came.
my parents were like,
Yeah,
my parents just put me in front of a TV and be like, here, you go watch something. And so I'd watch Married with Children, Roseanne, Zoom. Yeah.
My brother used to hide from the romper room lady, but she still found him. Wasn't he on the TV show with Kirk Cameron?
Oh man, Kirk Cameron's gone down a weird path.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But that happened way before. Like he's like a hardcore Christian. He was doing all those Left Behind movies.
Yeah,
and stuff
he
like that.
was. It's called Growing
He did
Pains.
at least.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm not thinking of the same guy. Maybe I'm.
He used to
One
be
of the
on.
guys
What's
from one
it?
of those shows that did at least 1 or 2 Hallmark movies.
It
Yeah,
might have
but
been
he
him
was-
too. This guy from Growing Pains.
Yeah, he
Maybe
was on
that's
Growing
what I'm
Pains.
thinking of.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
Yes.
that's what I'm thinking of. I never
Yeah.
watched any of those shows, so I don't really know.
Jen was terrified of Witchy Poo as a little girl.
You know
I think
what?
a lot
you know,
of people were.
You know what terrified me as a little kid is the first time I ever saw It with Tim Curry playing Pennywise. Oh my God, that terrified me as a kid.
Well, that's supposed to. They're talking about kids shows that are terrifying you. A horror movie is supposed to terrify you.
Well, I was a kid.
Yeah.
No, she's not. No, she's not Star Trekker. She's not on Hallmark. As a matter of fact, her and her brother Kurt, they formed some type of stupid thing called the Great American Channel. And
Yep.
all that is nothing but Christian like content, and you're not going to see any gay people on that.
Oh
And that's
man,
the reason why they formed their own channel.
yeah, yeah. But Kurt Cameron was in Growing Pains with Leonardo DiCaprio. But
Oh, there
Leonardo
you go.
DiCaprio wasn't
Parody.
on there.
I gotta check that out later, Dave. Yeah, Kirk Cameron though, he went down like that total freaking rabbit hole of like he was making all those Left Behind Christian movies where it was supposed to be about like the apocalypse, and he was like the hero of every movie and stuff like that. But those Left Behind movies, I kind of watched them, but I mean, it wasn't anywhere near like Thief in the Night, that movie they showed me when I was in Baptist school when I was a kid. That scared the crap out of me and had me running home crying. I'm like, oh my God, they told me if I don't accept the Lord, they're going to chop my head off. And, that movie terrified me as a kid. Oh my God. It's on YouTube. You can watch it, but total 70s movie, but it was the whole thing. Like, if you accept the number of the beast, they're going to, in order to like go to heaven, you're going to have to let them chop off your head. It's going to be real quick, but don't accept the number of the beast. It's just like, and I'm like, I forgot how old I was, but I'm like sitting there going, "Oh my God!"
Is that where Iron Maiden got their name of their album?
I mean, the Book of Revelation has been around for quite a while there, at least.
Oh yeah, well,
I don't think they would have got it from that movie, but yeah, Number of the Beast, 666, Number of the Beast.
Oh yeah, I know the Book of Revelations have been around for a while.
It was just like, wow, man, because like I think Who was I talking about? I was talking to somebody about that not too long ago. That we used to go to this thing called Bible Time, which was during the summer, and we would go and we'd end up learning our Bible verses, and they would give us these ribbons. And actually, you know what? They probably taught us like vanity and stuff like that, because if you really think about it, we would go and we would specifically learn our Bible verses to get these ribbons, because whoever had the most ribbons was like the most. When they were like, "Ooh, look at all the ribbons!"
Yeah, you told me
So
about that.
so it seemed like
funny.
that we were learning, and they'd be like, "No, you're learning the Bible. It's good." But actually, we were learning for vain purposes, because we wanted to show off ribbons. So now that I'm old, I'm older. I can put two and two together.
There's a school I used to go to. It was called Apostolic Academy. And I went there for 1 year. I think I went for my 4th grade year. And I went there because I think I just got into like this weird point in my life where I said, I want to learn more about the Bible. So I asked my parents, like, is there a school I can go to learn about the Bible? And they told me, like, you can go to this place. It's called Apostolic Academy. I think my dad knew the pastor there from being a police officer. So I spent my entire 4th grade year going to the school, and we used to have this thing that was called a PACE. And a PACE was basically like a booklet of stuff you had to learn, and it was like, English, history, math, and stuff like that. And they'll teach you all this kind of stuff through Bible verses. And I remember finding like my favorite Bible verse through it and stuff. But then after that, I was done with it after a year.
Yeah.
For one thing, I showed up at day 1, and I had like long hair. So I was like, I had long hair. And they said like, oh, when you come back to school, cut your hair. And I was like, why? Because guys don't have long hair over here. I was like, well, Jesus did. And they're like,
and they really didn't have an argument for it, did they? They're like, well, you're not Jesus.
Nobody really need attention for mentioning that.
Like, well, you're not Jesus, so there's that.
It's like, I am.
You can't have long hair. He wants us to do as he says and not as he does.
You do.
Yeah.
But it was a thing where they sort of reward you every time, because we will have like a service like at the end of the week in the church, and they were like, like if you went through your whole work that week, then they will like have a ceremony like, hey, Paul just finished first pace number 1. Now they're gonna be studying pace number 2. Here we go. And it's like a little sticker, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
My friend Dewey, the one who's been in the chat. My friend Dewey, the one who's been in the chat, his name's Cowboy Dewey. Him, when he actually had turned around and he became a Christian, and he was trying to take me back and forth to church with him and stuff like that, to introduce me to what he was learning and stuff. And he took me to a church in Laguna. It was called Calvary Chapel. And I had turned around and told him, I was like, I was really against. I was like, dude, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. I'm telling him, I'm not into it. I had went through the whole thing when I was younger. I felt like they scared the shit out of me. They tried to like nail it in me, but whatever. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Well, what happened is we went to this church, and this church I was like going, wait a second, there's people like in flip flops and shorts and all this different stuff, and it was like a completely different atmosphere. And people were just being like real loose and stuff like that. People had long hair, all this stuff. And it was basically like a surfer church, California surfer church. They were just kind of like, hey, dude, hey, the Lord wants you. And I remember the pastor at that church at one time turned around and was telling this other kid, I heard him telling this other kid, as far as it came to music, he turns around and he goes, hey, he goes, you know what? He's all, I think the Lord likes you to listen to music. He's all, you know what? If he didn't want you to listen to music, he wouldn't have put it here. He's all, how do you feel when you listen to music? He's all, do you feel happy? He's like, yeah, I feel happy. He goes, he's all, but you can put it all in proper perspective, right? He's all, yeah. He's all, it doesn't drive you away from your love of the Lord, right? And he goes, no. He goes, well, then it's all good. Listen to whatever you want to. I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, it was a real laid back church. But I mean, it's just never been my thing.
Yeah, church is not my thing
too. I only lasted for about 1 year going to that school. But the thing that I did take away from that school is I learned how to play drums. And I learned how to play organ, because they had a teacher there that will teach you organ and piano. So I was there learning how to play the organ, and then they had a drum set there, and I was like, I found the sticks and I just taught myself drums over there, and they're like, wow, you just picked that up right now? It's like, yeah, I'm still trying to find my footing, but yeah, this is what I could do. They're like, oh, cool. If you ever want to play along with us, and like, if we need a drummer, we'll call you up. And I was like, great. And I even was learning guitar around that time. So they said, hey, you have a guitar? Bring it, and, play with us. We'll teach you something. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So
Of course.
that's a good thing that I got out of that school. But I
Mhm.
think after about a year, I was like, I want to go back to public school. I want to grow my hair out long again. I want to wear my Beatles shirts, and I want to wear jeans because I hate wearing slacks, and I hate wearing button-up shirt where you had to put on a tie and stuff. And that was just not me.
Final kicks. Music is my religion. I belong to the Church of the Poisoned Mind. There you go. So dun dun.
Why am I not surprised about Trekker being a Satanist? I'm not surprised, Trekker.
Deuteronomy.
I've never read
Deuteronomy,
Deuteronomy.
Dude.
So Deuteronomy, dude.
Don't
course.
ask me to do Bible verses. I can't remember them.
Dave,
Huh?
I think he wants you to send up a link.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Deuteronomy. Just kidding.
Deuteronomy.
Yeah. There's a link, Dave. Deuteronomy.
I mean, we had a Bible in the house, and I used to skim through it as a kid because I was curious.
Well,
I
of
still
course
have
you
my
do.
Bible.
But a lot. I mean, the thing is that with me, when I first started picking up the Bible, reading, it's like I read it like it was
Yeah.
a story. It's just like it was like
Yeah.
picking up any other book for me. It was like, oh, it's a story, type thing.
Yeah.
Dave!
Yay!
Dave's
We
in
haven't
the house,
seen
Mr.
you
Hot Frog.
forever. We haven't seen you forever.
It's
Go
been a
the
minute.
whole
Are
crew's
you-
back together again.
Are you reading Deuteronomy? You should read Deuteronomy.
There you go. Final Kick said no. It's called Daveronomy.
Oh, Deuteronomy.
Daveronomy. We got to figure out a way to get a replacement nose. I guess Tim's snowman needs some plastic surgery.
I know. We're gonna fire up the 3D printer when we get settled in our new place.
You know what? We need to have different kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like we
Oh,
need a
wow.
Santa Claus. We need a Santa Claus this time.
Santa Claus. Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
He's all we can rebuild them. We have the technology.
No, I know, but I'm saying we go with the Christmas theme, so then we have a whole house for
There
Christmas.
you go. There you go.
DJ Trish Wade. Dave! Daveronomy.
Or maybe,
Dave's not here,
or
man.
maybe.
He's not here.
It's the
Upgrade
hop in the
snowman.
flesh. And Royce is still in the house. What's up, Royce? Royce is still in the
Hey.
house.
Hey, Royce.
Royce is hanging out with us. It's pretty sweet. Uh-oh, what did I do?
Yeah.
My computer's-
I just want to get up here and take part in the old memories of TV shows and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember all that stuff. I watched TV all the time as a kid. It was just
I watched a lot of TV as a kid, too. That's why I'm like,
We all
kinda like,
did. We all did.
But we
it seemed
didn't
like
need-
There was more time then because there weren't as many shows that you had to watch. But I mean, I did a lot of stuff as a kid, but I still
Yeah.
watched a lot of TV.
oh yeah. I mean, if you're inside when the streetlights come on, there's nothing else to watch. Or read a book, but I did a lot of that too.
Well, I was except in the summer, I was on Fridays because 7:00 was Brady Bunch and Partridge Family, so I was in the house at 7:00 on Fridays, but no other night.
I watched a little bit of a Trekker. I mean, it just didn't really grab me. I tried watching the George Michael one, too, and it just I don't know, just something that didn't suck me in.
I
But
haven't
yeah.
watched it yet. I haven't watched it yet.
Mhm.
But now that I hear mixed
I really-
reviews
I
about
really
it, I'm like,
didn't I really didn't get into TV until probably it was like 92, 93, and that was because I think I discovered Nick at Night. I used to like watching Nick at Night, and that's when Partridge Family used to be on Nick at Night. So every night at 8 o'clock, it would be Partridge Family, and then after them, then it was like Get Smart, Dragnet, Bob Newhart, Dick Van Dyke,
Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore, and those shows I loved. I loved watching those shows because those shows were very, very funny. And
yeah.
all the stuff that was around that time, I was not into. I didn't like Married with Children or
I watched that.
or Friends and stuff like that. I
No.
was into a lot of these shows from the 60s and 70s.
I mean, I used to watch this one show as a kid called Remington Steele with Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, that was my jam. I don't think you guys remember that show.
I always thought that,
well, we had on the East Coast, we had WPIX out of New York City, and every night, starting at like 8 o'clock, there was like Get Smart, and I don't remember what was after Get Smart. Then there was the Twilight Zone at 9, and then something else, because they didn't run blocks then. They ran a show and a different show, and then at 10 o'clock was the news. Then 11 o'clock was I think the Honeymooners, and then there was something else.
Love that
and
show.
Midnight was Star Trek, and this was like from the late 70s through the 2000s. They were still showing the same programming. It was awesome.
Yeah. The worst thing is about your favorite show is they wouldn't do them back to back till like either like in the 90s. But you'd have to wait till the following week to get caught up on what happened to here or what happened to whoever from the Partridge Family. You'd have to like wait, and you have to remind yourself and tell your friends, "Hey, that thing's coming on tomorrow night." You know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing I liked about a lot of the shows that I watched, like The Incredible Hulk and stuff like that. It's like the episodes were always like one-offs, unless they ended up having a special one where it was like a two-parter. But it always seemed like, you didn't really have to run home to watch it. Well, I mean, you ran home to watch it the next week anyway, see the new episode, but it's not like they really left you on a cliffhanger. But
Did I ever tell you guys about? Go ahead.
I was going to say, when Fonzie jumped over the shark, he had to wait for the following week to see if he actually made it.
Yeah.
They cut it there.
Yeah.
I had an idea for a cable network, which I think is awesome, just because nobody does this anymore. It's a network of all reruns. You try to show shows when they were originally on, but you show it like once a week. So like on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock, you have Gilligan's Island. And then the next Tuesday at 8 o'clock, you have, like, it's a real network. And
I think we have that out here.
When the show's over, you put a different show in its place. And
we have retro TV.
It goes. You don't do back to back to back. You don't do sets. You do a show once a week.
Oh,
so, like,
wait.
You show Seinfeld. Seinfeld would literally last you probably 8 years.
Exactly.
And I think that's interesting.
I never watched Seinfeld.
I use this program called Kodi, which is what I end up using for playback. It's like the media center I use throughout the whole house. All the TVs are connected to it. I can download, of course, all shows. Perfectly legal. You didn't hear anything different. But I'll download like full shows and stuff. And the thing is, it gets the metadata from the internet. It'll be like, okay, well, this show, like if I download all the Incredible Hulk, it knows the year, it knows all that stuff. So what this program does, it has another attachment or another add-on where it can actually make like a cable channel. It makes like it's a cable, like I'm watching cable TV. And it will go ahead and pick stuff from my hard drives of movies and TV shows and put it on like I'm watching cable TV. And it'll like feed me. Like it'll put on like Incredible Hulk at 8. And it'll put on like, Wonder Woman at 9. And stuff like that. It's like it'll put it in order for me to watch it that way if I wanted to. Stuff like that, which, I mean, I think Pluto does the same thing, though. They end up taking, like, the thing I don't like about Pluto TV is that they'll end up getting a hold of a show, and you'll get used to it being there, and you'll be like, oh, that's so cool, they're playing this show, da-da. And then all of a sudden, it'll just disappear. That channel will completely disappear after, like, a week or two, and it'll be something else in its place.
Pluto is Pluto's basically one big server. And
that's what this does.
You pay, you own a program, you pay to be on Pluto, and then you get to run commercials and stuff to try to make money. So that's all Pluto is. So they're not pulling anything. Whoever owns the show is pulling it because they're not making money, they're not getting enough revenue or whatever it is. But yeah, that's what Pluto is. It's just a big server.
Star Trekker said May 21st, 1997 is still the saddest day of my life. That was the day they canceled Chicago Hope.
But Star Trekker, now they got all these Chicago shows. Chicago Med, Chicago PDHD.
Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, Chicago Sanitation. They got Chicago everything now.
It's like NCIS. NCIS has
Chicago Parks and Recreation.
I love Parks and Recreation. I love Parks and Recreation.
They do. All the shows on Tubi were canceled after 6 episodes. So they'd only get like 6 episodes of a season, and that would be like it.
I like Tubi. Tubi has my Partridge Family on there, or they did. I don't know if they still
That
do.
was my other argument that I was going to have, is that these TV shows are moving around too much, and the a la carte is getting crazy on streaming. It is just getting too crazy. Like right now, it's like, okay, if I want to watch The Partridge Family right now, it's like, okay, I know I can go to Prime Video and watch it.
Yeah.
But that's for this year.
Yeah.
Next year, who knows, that contract might change hands and I might have to go to Hulu, and watch it over there. Or I might have to go to some other, Fox might get it.
Every streaming service has gotten together, and this is what they do. This is how they want to make money. You just got to sign up to more and more and more, because we're going to just keep shuffling everything around. And that's how it's the only way they're ever going to make money, when they're still not making money, but it's the only way they have a hope to make money.
Like guilty pleasure. Okay, I love Saved by the Bell. I love it. It's fucking.
How is that a guilty pleasure?
It's chewing gum for the brain. I love it. Chewing gum for the brain.
It's not guilty pleasure.
That show has moved so much in the past 2 years. I mean, first it was on Hulu, then it went to Peacock, and now it's back over at Prime, and I'm pretty sure it'll move again. It's moved 3 or 4 times. And me it's just, I've been fortunate that the people that it's moved to, I've already been subscribed to, because I have the DVD set. This is the thing that's going to sound bad, and I know Tim's going to cringe at this, but sometimes there's certain shows I have them on DVD and I'll still watch them on streaming because I'm too lazy to get up and put the disc in.
What? I only watched the Save the Bell for one person, and that was Mario Lopez.
You're a Mario Lopez man? Woman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, woman.
I mean, what 12-year-old didn't have, Mario Lopez on their radar? Oh, okay, maybe just me.
Alien Nation, I don't even know if they sell that, if you can get that show on DVD. I know I have the movie, on DVD, but I don't even know if you can get the show. What I used to like was V.
Alien Nation? I don't remember that show.
I didn't know were out on DVD. So.
You can watch a lot of old shows on YouTube, but they're starting to crack down on them now.
Yeah,
they are starting to crack down on
them. For long.
No. Well, there's channels that I watch on YouTube. Like, I watch a lot of Little Rascals because they have full episodes on YouTube. I've been doing that a lot, is watching the old Little Rascals on YouTube.
Is there any way to actually chronologically organize the Little Rascals, watch it in chronological order?
If you want to buy them, they got remastered and put out in 3 amazing sets over the last couple of years.
Huh. Okay, I'll have to look into that.
Pristine, looking better than they looked when they were first made. And they started with sound, so if you're not into the silent, they're going to do the silent ones. They haven't done it yet.
If I'm a Little Rascal
Hey, Nathaniel,
character,
what's up? Where?
Fantastic.
Hey, yeah, I need to look into it.
Dragnet episodes are great. They're great.
I've never watched Dragnet. I've never watched it.
I love Dragnet. I was into Joe Friday and of course Harry Morgan. I'm a very big Harry Morgan fan.
Yeah, people don't know how long Dragnet was on. I mean, Dragnet started on the radio, and then sometime in the mid-50s it went to TV, and it was still on in the very late 60s
Just
and
a
early
fact story.
70s before it finally went off.
Everybody, Dave he started a blog a while back. He's showing it Trish, but every story has to start somewhere. Blogspot.com.
Yeah,
I used to have a blogspot.
Started about 11 years ago, and then I lost the password. I never finished.
Everybody can go and check it and read it. There you go.
So far, so.
I think David Cassidy appeared on a Dragnet episode where I think it was.
He did. He was Blue Boy.
Yeah, Blue Boy.
That's arguably the most famous Dragnet episode, and it's not because it's David Cassidy. but it's one of the few out and out drug episodes, you know, and it's got psychedelic music and, you know, and all of that kind of
I
stuff.
was like cracking up. It was like, I was cracking up because it was like maybe about a month ago when I was taking my whole hiatus from like streaming or whatever, watching a lot of TV, like I said, so I'm a big butt. I was telling Lisa I was watching an episode of Chips. Yeah. Where Danny Bonaducci and Christopher Knight were playing these car thieves.
Oh my God, he looks so different. He looks so different.
And Danny Bonaducci's like totally threatening Christopher Knight, like, if you snitch, man, it's all over for you. You understand, man? It's done. Ooh. He's like being all tough. And Christopher Knight's like, oh, I'm afraid of you. I'm afraid of you. No. Like they're trying to be tough guys. It was totally freaking funny though.
No, because I looked at that and I was like, that's Danny Bonaducci.
Yeah,
because in the Partridge Family, he was pudgy and had long hair.
He was all tall and skinny and going through puberty. So all kinds of pimples. He looked horrible.
I was like, what happened to Danny Bonaducci?
He looked horrible. I was like, damn. He's like, oh, man, I'm telling you, man, I'll cut you, man. I don't care. So you better not go to Poncherello, man. I know he's your buddy. It's funny. I crack up at like Chips because like those guys were such womanizers. They were so misogynistic. The whole show is like, and people just like crack up at it now. You know, it was like so on PC. You know, because that's all Poncherello was doing was chasing skirt. That's all he did on that show. You know. Let me see. William Shatner. The king of pause acting. Hey, so, Isn't he like 93 now, 92 or 93? We were talking about him the other night.
Yep.
We were talking about how like he is old. Him and Mel Brooks are like around the same age. I was like, damn, really?
Now he's just doing Priceline commercials.
I've been watching all episodes of Remote Control on YouTube. See how long they stay up there. MTV's another one who's a stickler. They take all their shows down.
Yeah, I like MTV's. I like MTV's. What was it? My True Life or something, or that show that they used to have where they would interview these people.
Adam 12 was not much of a fan, but I used to like that show Emergency.
It was sort of a spin-off of Adam 12. I mean, they were connected. And once in a while they'd be on each other's shows.
That shows you like how old I am. I mean, one year for Christmas, I got like the helmet, the mask, the big old like thing you put on your back and stuff for Emergency. It's probably worth money now.
It's probably.
I know all about the corny costumes. I had the plastic Cinderella costume that my mom bought me in 85, 86.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Cinderella looked like she'd been ran over with a 2x4. That's how bad that costume looked.
It's probably worth money.
It probably is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Vancouver.
Bobby Troop fans because of Emergency.
What I need to do is I need to hunt down a place that has all of the original episodes of Daria, but I don't mean like the Daria that came out on the DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that, but the actual ones that were aired on TV that had the original soundtracks to them.
Oh, that's kind of hard. I had the same problem with the Wonder Years. I have a box set that I have here that I luckily bought. I'm wondering if it's the bootleg. It looks like it's all original. But this one right here, they came out with like different versions of it. Like they came out with like Time Life, I think, came out with the Wonder Years and a couple of other companies, and all the music was cut. All the music was cut because they couldn't get the copyrights for it. Yeah. And then finally I got this box set, and this box set has all the original music. Because, I mean, if you look at it on Prime Video or whatever, when you're watching an episode, they won't play the original Joe Cocker theme at the beginning. They play like a totally different version. Luckily, this one has all the original music, all the original themes and stuff. So.
I mean, WKRP, it took years for WKRP to come out because of music rights. And most of the songs wound up being in it, but there's a few that aren't.
They used a lot.
Same problem, you know. I mean,
yeah, WKRP. I've been watching them recently because I got a hold of some DVD rips or original DVD rips from like the mid '90s. Mm-hmm. So I guess they were before they started cutting all the music out and stuff like that. Yeah. So the episodes I have, they're kind of grainy, but they have all the music, included and stuff. So
I own the box set, and it has 90+% of the music. The one that sticks out to me is. There's an episode where Johnny Fever finds out he has a daughter, and she comes and visits him, and the whole thing. And then at the end, she leaves, and then it goes to commercial, and it comes back, and the joke is he's reading a letter, you know, and he's not paying attention to what he's doing, and the commercial gets over or whatever. He just puts on any old record and sticks the needle on and goes back to his record. And the record was The Long Run by the Eagles. But it's some generic thing that sounds like The Long Run from the Eagles on this. But, I mean, you get the same vibe. And then I forget his name, the station manager, you know, whatever his name is, comes running in. And he's like, he's playing a hit. He's playing a hit. Oh my God, he's playing a hit! He goes running out of the he's playing a hit! He's playing a hit! And that was the whole joke. And that he was so preoccupied with this letter from his daughter that he actually mistakenly.
Oh yeah, Andy Travis.
But you don't hear the hit in the episode because you didn't get it.
Daria's on Paramount Plus, I think. But like I think Pauline is saying though, even though it's on Paramount Plus, it's probably most of the music's probably like taken out of it.
Yeah, exactly, because it's expensive.
Bob Seger's music was on the Wonder Years. A lot of people's music was on the Wonder Years.
Joe Cocker did the theme song for the Wonder
Years. His friend.
Randy too. I mean, it was whatever his music was on.
It's common knowledge. His friend.
And the sad thing about the music not being there is that, it was because of Daria that I discovered like a lot of bands that I never knew about. For one thing, I remember there's an episode where they ended the episode with a song called Bangs, and it's a song by They May Be Giants, and I never heard of They May Be Giants. And when I found out what the song was, I was like, this is a really cool song. Like, you know, it's all because of Daria that was bringing out like a lot of these indie rock bands and putting them into the shows. And I was like, that's really cool.
I used to watch Daria.
Early fountains of Wayne on it too.
Yeah, I was watching, I was seeing up here in the comments earlier, Star Trek was mentioning T.J. Hooker. That was reminding me of this movie that I'd seen. It's called Free Enterprise. It's supposed to be about, you know, Star Trek fans, blah, blah, whatever, being nerds. But there's a scene in it that I always thought it was like, I thought it was like so like racist. Because they ended up showing like that these white guys are like meeting William Shatner, and they're all excited because they're like, oh my God, it's Captain Kirk, it's Captain Kirk, it's Captain Kirk. But then all these black guys walk into the bar and they see William Shatner, and they're like, oh my God, it's TJ Hooker. It's TJ Hooker. You know, like they knew him for TJ Hooker, but the white guys knew him for like being Kirk. I just was like, oh, did they really have to do that? I'm like, oh, was that necessary?
You're bringing me back, Star Trekker, with the TGIF Friday, Step by Step, Boy Meets World. Oh yeah, that was the thing we always do. We'd sit around the TV and we would, you know, watch that every Friday. I wish they'd bring that back. You never seen
by candlelight with your hot cocoa?
Never seen
while you
Boy
were
Meets
knitting.
World. I'm surprised you never seen Boy Meets World.
I've never heard of Boy Meets World.
Yeah, that was the TJIF lineup during like the 90s, early 90s. I think by the early 90s, I was already like getting out of high school and I was going out all the time. Like a lot of that that era, like Friends and stuff. I missed that stuff.
90s, I'm in my 30s. You know.
Nah. Yeah, I was young, so
yeah, like in the early 90s, that was like right before I met the kid's mother. I was fresh. You know, I was out of high school, in college, going out with friends, doing all kinds of stuff. So it's like I really didn't stay home too much, like watching TV and stuff. So it's like a lot of like Friends and stuff like that, you know, that era. I just say it just totally like blew past me, you know. I didn't catch it till later, and people would be like, you don't know this about Friends, that about Friends, it was the greatest TV show ever, blah blah blah. And I'd be like, sorry, I don't know too much about it, you know.
I'll admit it, I didn't really watch Friends. Friends came out when I was in high school, and I really didn't really watch Friends.
Pratt and McClane did the Happy Days theme song.
Yep.
Speaking of, when you were talking about jumping the shark, wasn't the episode where he did the jump on the bike and he ran to the chicken, a two-parter too? The chicken stand?
Probably.
Arnold's all mad about his chicken. He's all, nobody's going to buy his chicken down. It's all right over.
I was done with Happy Days long before he jumped the shark.
Yeah, that reminds me of the episode of Pawn Stars where he got the Fonzie picture. And they took his Fonzie picture, and he was pissed off. Rick, he had a Fonzie picture on his ledge in Pawn Stars, and they had to replace it.
I didn't watch it tonight. I was doing some work in the backyard, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. Well, I'm sure Tim and Paulina watched it, right?
Yeah,
I forgot about it.
I was in and out. I was doing some work. I can so I wasn't able to stay that long.
It was a good episode.
That's another show. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's another
sorry,
show that I don't know how it ever came out on DVD. I guarantee it wasn't full seasons. Maybe they got some videos, you know, and I'm sure a lot of it was cut. And, you
know.
I was gonna say the last best episode of Happy Days was the one when Weezer went on there and sang Buddy Holly.
Okay. Beavis and Butthead, yeah, I think that's one of those collections where they end up having like best ofs, like they have like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, but
I mean, they could actually get the people to, you know, and other than that, you couldn't do it.
Because I mean, like a lot of those music videos, they did not get the rights to them. And then also some of that stuff was kind of obscure too. Some of the stuff they would pull on that show, it was kind of obscure. Like you only saw it there like once or twice, you know. You'd be like, oh, remember that song? No, I don't. Oh, now I remember it.
That was the great thing about MTV in the early days, and not even like not even like necessarily on some of the specialty shows or something, but after like midnight, they would go deeper.
Yeah.
Than they would go in the daytime, and you would see things like the Replacements, Bastards of Young, or not Bastards. Is it Bastards of Young? Maybe it is. Which was one of my favorite videos ever. I only ever saw that a couple times on MTV, but they did show it. All it was, it was black and white. This guy goes to his turntable, puts the song on, and goes and sits on the couch. He's playing it so loud that every once in a while, you see things on the speaker moving, and every once in a while, something falls off. And that's the whole video. The camera never moves, nothing. It's like 3.5 minutes of you watching a speaker, and this guy...
Yeah.
And once in a while, something would fall off the speaker. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant video.
All kinds of weird stuff's been happening with Dog the Bounty Hunter. I mean, not just Beth dying and stuff like, but like he got like remarried. Like they said, too soon. His kids turned on him for marrying this woman so soon. I think the daughters or something like that. Stuff like that. But then they came out with the same thing. They came out with like allegations that. Of sexual, assaults and everything else. It's like he's been going through it, I think, really.
Yeah, when his wife passed away, that was sad.
I remember when Bravo was all music, it changed. Well, of course, yeah. I wonder if like when some of those channels end up doing the whole music thing and they do all that stuff, if they end up changing because it's just like after a while, it's too expensive to pay all the like copyrights and stuff like that.
Well, Bravo, I remember Bravo is in the daytime, they would show really good movies, commercial free, uninterrupted, like art house movies, like really, really interesting stuff. I had about VHSs full of movies I got. They were a better source than AMC was.
Now, what is Bravo now? Is Bravo reality TV?
It's like you have like the Shaws of Sunset and all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's a lot of garbage TV.
You got the woman doing a fake leg.
Bravo used to show this movie.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was like in their steady rotation.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but there's an Andy Griffith movie where it's not a comedy. He plays this racist Southern dude. And Walter Matthau was in it, and I can't think of her name. It was an early movie for I can't think of her name, but she's famous. And this is Andy Griffith, like you've never seen him. And they would show this kind of stuff. Early Fritz Lang movies. I remember seeing 1 or 2 early Fritz Lang movies. Bravo was amazing.
And I remember when MTV was music.
That reminds me. I have a theater that's here. It's in Santa Ana, which is a couple cities over. It's like called the Frida Cinema. I need to take advantage of that place. I've never gone there. They play a lot of like old films, like they do retrospectives and stuff like that. And they play like old films. Like you can go in there and they'll do like a Kubrick retrospective, and you can go in there and they'll play like Clockwork Orange, but they play it on a huge big screen.
Yeah,
stuff like that
all the time. I was lucky in DC. There was a couple places, and in Buffalo, DC there was this theater. They tore it down a long time ago, but they would I mean, the most uncomfortable seats I've ever sat in my life in this theater. It was run down. It was, but you wanted it that way. It was like what like a theater on 42nd Street or something. What do you call this? This is, you know, like a grindhouse.
The grindhouse.
And like the movie that I saw there, the first movie I ever saw there, I was
Good night,
blown
Trish.
away. I saw Russ Meyer's Faster Pussycat Kill in this theater on a movie screen in a theater. I saw this movie. I'm like, what the hell was this? This is a great theater, and then they tore it down.
Yeah, see, here's the place. It's called the Frida Cinema. It's in downtown Santa Ana. Let me see if I can blow this up so we see some of these. See, like they're doing this, like they have a Bronx Tale, Robert De Niro's 80th birthday party, Lady Vengeance, Old Boy Singing in the Rain. It's like they play like all these old movies.
I love a Bronx Tale. That's a good one. Old Boy. Ooh, Old Boy.
Is that the whole schedule? Let me see. The schedule's got to be for next month. Okay, for August. See, like September.
Ooh.
Man on the Moon.
Good
Tenet.
One.
I know they keep on doing. They do this so many times a month. The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Touch of Evil, classic movie nights.
Ooh.
The Searchers. Satanic Hispanics. Mike Mendez.
As good as anybody's ever going to see the
The French Connection for Friedkin Weekends.
I like the French Connection. I love the French
these
Connection.
days, though, the problem with these days is you're probably just watching basically a DVD or a Blu-ray.
Probably what they're doing is they're going ahead and they're.
Back when I was seeing them, you were actually seeing prints of the movie, which to me is.
One of my friends' movies is on there.
Which one?
It's Go Down.
Huh?
I think it's like on the 30th. It's called AIDS Diva: The Legend of Connie Norman. My friend.
Okay.
My friend directed that film. It's a really good film too.
You know what? They keep on talking about this movie Friedkin. And like for me, it's like Friedkin's either like it could be like a hit or a miss. You know, when it comes to his movies, I mean, there's a couple of movies I really like of his, like like Cruising, and like The Exorcist, of course. A couple of Sorcerer. I don't know. I keep on hearing that it's a really, really good movie, and they really hyped it up on this Friedkin documentary they did for Netflix. So I gotta go ahead and probably check it out. But I'm wondering if this place actually does end up playing Prince, or if they do this. I don't think they would probably end up having it in there.
Interesting.
I don't think they would actually end up putting it like we use DVDs or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure they use whatever they
whatever is readily available.
But again, when I was, there was a theater in just a normal theater that we would go to. That in the daytime for a couple of years, they decided they were going to show old classic films. And almost nobody came. But I mean, I got to see things like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and stuff like this in a theater. And me and my girlfriend would be like the only young people there. Everybody else would be like in their 60s or older. And we'd go and they'd be looking at us and they'd be smiling. They'd be so happy that we were there. That there's kids that actually want to see this movie. And I'd be like, damn, yes.
I think in most part, a lot of these theaters really do use prints because there's a place in Palm Springs. It's called the Palm Springs Cultural Film Society, and they did like a showing of some movie. I totally forgot what it was, but my friend posted it because she's the director of it, and she showed like the reels that they used of the film, and I was like, wow, you guys are using reels for the film? So yeah, we like using the real stuff, because that's the way to experience the movie.
Yeah,
that is so really cool. And so she was like, hey, we're gonna be testing out this reel of this movie. If you can, come to Palm Springs and be with us. I was like, shoot, I wish I could, but I would like to see that. I could be up in the projection room and them do that kind of stuff. That's pretty amazing. If I wasn't doing the work that I do right now, I would love to be a projectionist at a theater.
I used to be a projectionist. I used to work on the trees. I remember there was this place that was it was over here in Norwalk. It was called Super Saver Cinemas. I remember I started a job there when I was in high school, and what happened was I got a job there as an usher, and I got in really close with the projectionist who worked upstairs, and they were all union at that time. And what happened was he had a really, really big falling out with the owner, who was real janky. He owned maybe 3 or 4 of these Super Saver cinemas where they played movies that were already out of first run, or whatever. They were trying to make whatever little money they could. At the end, it's like Young Guns 2 when it was already out of the theater and stuff like that, So what happened was he had a big falling out with the projectionist. Projectionist is walking out on him, And he was saying, according to the way the labor laws go, or the way the union rules go, he was supposed to shut the theater down. But the projectionist had basically screwed himself, because I would go up there and kick it with him for lunch and stuff, and he taught me how to use everything, because I was asking questions. So what ends up happening is, Guy Gill's coming up to me. He's like, I need to turn the timers on. You know how to turn the timers on, Rick. Turn the timers on. I turn the timers on, right? He turns around. He's like, I'm going to have to find somebody to do this today. He's like, you know what? You need to come in tomorrow morning. And he calls me in. So he started just basically having me do it. And I was non-union and he had me doing it for almost a year until he got busted because he wasn't using a union projectionist. So, but I learned how, when they would bring the films in, how to take them out, take the multiple reels, put them on the tree, wind them all up. If we had a CinemaScope feature, how to change the lens out. I knew how to change the bulbs out. I knew how to do all that different stuff. It was like if we had a regular standard Panavision, feature, standard lens. I knew if we ended up having a CinemaScope or a widescreen, anamorphic widescreen, how to go ahead and swap out that lens and stuff like that. I knew how to go ahead and trim them. How to trim them just right, how you would cut the frames and how to glue them together, because all the movies would come in 3 different reels, and you would have to actually stretch them out, and put the 3 reels together in sequence and put them on the tree, and it would go from one, it would feed to the middle, and then it would feed to the top, and then it would feed back to the bottom and stuff like that, and that's how it would keep on going up and down the tree and stuff like that. But yeah, I learned how to do all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, I don't even think they do. Everything's digital now.
Yeah, they don't
it's like they don't even do it like that anymore.
That's more modern than the ones I've seen, though. So
oh yeah,
I went to see Crowded House once in this movie theater. One of the few places left at that point in time anywhere in the country that could still show 70 millimeter. And me and my friend John went just to buy the tickets and walked in and found the right person. And he sold us our tickets, and he's like taking us to the theater. They were closed that night, and he shows us, this huge screen that they've got. He's like, we can show 70 millimeter films here. He's telling us the candle water, the bulbs, and everything. Like, you want to see it? And he takes us up into the projection room. We just went there for concert tickets. And I'm like, the 70 millimeter projector and the lens. Like, holy,
they're huge and they're heavy, and the glass is that thick.
All this stuff, and I wound up, a few weeks later, seeing a 70. We went back and saw The Thief, his wife, and her lover. Oh my God, we saw that 70 millimeter. I mean, gorgeous, horrible. I mean, horrible, amazing to look at, but not a nice movie, if you know what I mean. But oh my God, and we wound up. But one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen as far as being shot in. But he shows us all of this stuff, and he's telling us about it, and he's like, you got to make sure that the film never, ever stops in a 70 millimeter, because your film stops, you're going to burn a hole in that film.
Yeah, it's going to melt.
You're just going to saw it in half and start a fire instantly. Film should ever. But in those days, they just had 2 projectors. They didn't have they brought on the reels, and they had 2 projectors. Second reel would be on the second projector. First reel would aimed in roughly the same spot, and the first reel got over, the little blips come on, and the second reel start. That's how they were still doing it then.
Well,
they still use
the 70 millimeter, because the recent videos I've seen lately, it was a guy, I think, out in Oregon, and he had to do a 70 millimeter print of Oppenheimer. And he said that when it came in for them to show it, they had to have this very big truck to bring in the film, because the film was about.
I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. I feel like I'm the only one.
It came in. It was that big, and it took about 4 or 5 people just to get it out of the box and put it onto the big platter that it was laid on. And
because, I mean, 70 millimeters like this wide or something like that.
Yeah, and they were also saying that the copies of the prints of Oppenheimer that IMAX didn't know what they were going to do because they were making the trees bend.
Oh,
yeah, they had,
because for the IMAX version of Oppenheimer, an average IMAX film is usually about 2.5 hours, whereas Oppenheimer was 3 hours, and so the platter it's only built to sustain a 2.5 hour print, like Avengers Endgame. So they had to manufacture extenders for the platter because the movie was going to go over the platter to the point that it would have caused it to sort of like scathe onto the thing. And even then, I think there's like this one theater, I might have been in Seattle or possibly somewhere in Colorado, where they had to stop showing the film because the platter broke.
Jesus.
The IMAX platter broke. And they just couldn't get it to turn, so they had to give everybody refunds and stuff like that, or like like a rain check thing, so that when it's working again, they could just come and be like, okay, we saw that you were here, like but yeah, that was a monster of a film that they had to show, and there's like another guy that I was watching where he had to put together all of the prints. There's like about like a big stack of individual film prints, and each and every stack was like about 5 minutes of film in each box. So it took them like about 4 or 5 days just to
put that shit together up on the tree. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking
crazy.
I remember the longest film that I think that I ever strung up on a tree was probably like The Godfather Part 3. That was the longest one I ever did. And I remember that when the guy came and dropped it off from the distribution center, that was the first time I ever found out how much a movie was worth, one of those prints was worth. Because I turned around and I was like, he brings it, and I was like, okay, well, you're finally here, because he was late for one thing. He was running behind, so I had to get this thing up on the tree real quick. And I was cutting it, and he goes, no. You never cut more than 2 frames. You never cut more than 2 frames when you're going to splice it together. Never more than 2 frames. And I was like, I said, I think I went 2 frames. I was trying to bullshit him. He's like, oh, no, you look like you went over 2 frames. Never go over 2 frames. I was like, okay, you know how much these prints are worth? And I was kind of like, with him, this is worth $35,000 right here.
Whoa.
This print is $35,000. And I'm like thinking, but these prints are all over the country. Yes, but each of these is like worth $35,000. And I'm like, and it was like funny that didn't register. And I was like thinking, well, what happens to all these prints after they're no longer in circulation? Where do they go? Does the distributor keep it? Or do some of these prints end up in private collectors' hands? I'm kind of like wondering where they go afterwards,
I'm assuming some celebrities own them, probably.
Well, I've heard like Tarantino buying prints of like films where he's went and he's been,
Back in the old days, they played them till they were just disintegrated, basically. I mean, because there were like 5th, 6th, 7th run houses. I mean, old movies back in the 50s and 60s, you could see movies in theaters that were 2 years old still, and they were still playing somewhere. They would wear them out. It's not like today. Back then, they played them to death.
Yeah, because I mean, when he told me that, I was like, $35,000. I'm like, is that because of the length of this and how long this is? And he's all, well, there's different things. There's different, factors, of course. He's all, depends on the length of the film. Depends on the aspect ratio. He's all, depends on the sound, the sound system that it has to be supported by. Stuff like that. And I was just like, Jesus Christ, and I mean, we were using like the cheapest of the cheapest prints. We did not have a high-end system at all. The system was just like so cheap. It ran the bare stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, I don't think I'd want to be a projection. It's hard work. It's a young man's job. Yeah. It really is, because you're doing a lot of lifting. A lot of lifting, and you're doing, a lot of running back and forth. I mean, once a new film comes in, but once you put a film on, and you have all of your like trees set up, and you're like, okay, we're not going to be changing the movies for the next like 3 weeks, then you're fine. Everything's on timers, but then you end up having like, oh, today we're swapping out 4 films. 4 films get swapped, and you're like, fuck, and you got to do it by yourself. You're not doing it with like a team of people. It's not a team of projectionists. There's a projectionist, so it can get rough or whatever. But it's fun because, I mean, if you're like one of those people that does not want to be around people, it's a great job. You sit up there by yourself,
Yeah, it's a great job for introverts. Introverts would love that job.
But you see the same movie like over and over again. I mean, all the movies by heart.
No. For an autistic person, that's a great thing because we like watching the same movies over and over again.
Yeah, like there was certain movies. It's like I knew them by heart. You could like walk past the machine and you kind of like hear a little bit of the preview coming through the side speaker. Like that. Flatliners. I knew that whole thing by heart. I knew every
They probably do.
scene and stuff.
I assume nowadays that's what they do is digital files.
They do that. I mean, there's some houses that, like I said, still use film, but like a lot of it is hard drives digital. A lot of it's hard drive digital. They're just going ahead and they're swapping it out.
Yeah.
It's probably less expensive too.
Yeah.
It's got to be less expensive. Plus, also, I mean, you get a superior picture. And if they really, really talk about the graininess of when they end up blowing it up on a screen, the people want to see that graininess of the film, they could reproduce that digitally too if they wanted to. Yeah. It's like all that stuff could just be, Lisa's seen Love Actually 500 times.
I can confirm that you are right. You are right in that retrospect. I've seen it so many times.
What was the name of that song at the beginning of it?
Is it not?
Feel it in my fingers. Feel it in my toes. Christmas all around me, and so the feeling.
Hey, you know what's the best song, Paulina? Is "Pop Goes My Heart"
on the Enterprise.
I can
remember that one.
It doesn't look as good. Oddly, my old one looked better.
Yeah.
There you go.
It didn't work though, but I can do this.
I got a very good record collection back there. Look at that.
Lisa's about to start an audiophile channel.
It's not letting me add anymore. I don't know what happened. It let me add one photo, and it's not letting me add.
I got Mazzy's record collection behind me.
Lisa's about to do a whack-a-mole. There you go.
Oh, look at that. It's John Coltrane.
Not any more pictures.
Yep.
I don't know why.
You know what, Star Trekker? I went to see Titanic with a Machete Girl. That's when in 1997. I went to see it with Machete Girl, I think.
I have still not seen Barbie.
You not seen Barbie?
I have.
No, I still haven't. I've got to get a VPN, actually. Spectrum, I think I said this last night. Spectrum sent me a freaking a thing saying they caught me downloading.
Well, why am I not surprised?
Yeah. They're like, if we catch you downloading again, we're going to go ahead and cut your internet. I'm like,
you better not download. You want your internet gone. You're going to be like messaging me like, my internet's gone.
Oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait till I get a VPN first. And then when I get the VPN, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to resume what I do. They'll never catch me.
Haven't seen Barbie? You mean Ashley hasn't dragged you to Barbie?
No, I have not going to see it yet. No, I've not going to see it yet.
You saw it twice? One is enough, man.
I saw it when it came out, and I went to La Quinta to see it, and then I
saw it twice.
In Sacramento.
Me and my sister both agree that one time was enough. Tim.
I think he is a computer because he was doing the background.
No,
but there you go. There is a link again if Tim decides to come back up.
Tim teleported like they do in Star Trek.
He got beamed down to the planet.
Yeah. No, but every record Lisa Poole, I only have, believe it or not, Trekker, I only have about 6 K-pop records. K-pop is not a very, very popular
genre.
Tell
the truth, Lisa, that's all BTS singles behind you.
Yeah.
That's all BTS singles. Each one's a year that they were out.
I bought a new BTS album recently. I bought Jack in the Box.
And Tim's back. There he goes.
So how was your
trying to figure out why it wouldn't let me put another picture on, and I knocked myself off.
Captain,
You were
we've been having
teleporting.
problems with the teleporter.
Teleporter.
We've been having problems.
He's like, I'm giving it all I've got, Captain.
I'm stuck with Star Trek.
She can't take much more.
You're stuck
This
with Star
computer
Trek.
can't take much more.
Or brick,
There you go.
or bricks, or Lisa's living room. I can do Lisa's living room. But that's fine.
Yep.
Tim needs some more dilithium crystals. There it is.
Lisa.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Music
yeah.
and lyrics.
I love that movie. I love that movie.
That's another one of those movies where I saw it halfway through. I didn't watch the whole thing. I got to watch the whole thing. I swear to God, I'm not ADHD proven yet, but I think I am.
This is another great soundtrack.
Yeah.
This is another great soundtrack with the music of Adam Schlesinger.
Oh, may he rest in
Great.
peace. May he rest in peace.
Nice minor threat. I'm not just a bin stone.
3 concerts on one DVD.
Nice. Yeah, I was. I think I was saying last night, actually, Dave, that I was. Oh, shit.
Nice.
When did that come out?
Long Beach. This came out a couple years ago. I got it this weekend at Doctor Strange.
Sweet.
I need to go over to Doctor. I think Doctor Strange is a little out of the way for me.
Oh, nice. That one's not easy to come by.
They had a bunch of these. This came out in 2021. They had like quite
Really?
a few. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that. Okay, well, I didn't think that was. I thought that one.
They redid a lot of the songs. The original singer moved to Australia. They got a new guy. Sounds pretty
Is
good.
it safe to say, Tim, you're just another brick in the wall?
There you go. He's about to tell jokes.
I can't get any more than those 3.
He's about to start telling some jokes. Boom, boom, ksh.
No respect.
He's like, I tell you, I get no respect. I tell you. He's like, I tell you, this VC, they show me no respect. I tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, take my wife, please. Boom, boom. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, you're in a time warp. Everything's blurred out.
Ooh.
What happened?
Ooh.
Kick said Lisa with the dad jokes. I know, she's got like a whole book of them.
Well, I'm becoming a soccer dad, I guess.
Let's see if this work again.
They said Tim is guest starring on 21 Jump Street. There you go.
I love 21 Jump Street. Johnny Depp. Yeah, 21 Jump Street.
Well, you guys, I got to go ahead and I got to jump off because I got to go ahead and go pick up the kid's mom. I got to go ahead and take a little trip. It ends up taking me about 10 minutes to get over there. So I'm going to sign off for tonight, but I will be back tomorrow night at 8:30 again, or 8 o'clock. I'll probably go 30 minutes earlier tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll come on 8 o'clock so we can go ahead and do our late night crew thing like we do every night now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how long I can keep the streak going before I burn out again. Just kidding.
You know what? We had a good panel today, and we had Trekker keeping us with the jokes. Trekker's a funny dude, man.
Trekker's but not as funny as Lisa.
Nice amount of time.
Nah, my jokes are stale like bread.
All right, good night, everybody. Thanks for being here, Dave, Lisa, of course, Tim, Paulina. I was gonna go pull out my freaking snowman. I forgot to pull him out today. He's over there chilling in the garage. He's like, "Oh, let me out!
We are just a couple of broads."
He's like, come on. Wait.
I feel like now you need to make some updated snowmans, Dave, and put some sunglasses on them.
Okay, wait a minute. I do have. Here we go. My invisible snowman. He's invisible, so he's all, ooh. He's a ghost. It's a ghost snowman. So there you go. I've got him. He's right here. Because I never got a chance to put... He's like... This is like right here in this little thing that I have for my pencils. Because I never got a chance to put it on it. Because when he sent it to me... He sent it to me, and by that time, they... the kid's mom had already put all the stuff away in the garage. I'm like, he needed his scarf.
He needs a scarf.
He's in there without a scarf. Now I gotta go take him back out. So
go find your snowman, Dusty.
Well, good night, everybody. Good night, Kicks. Good night, Nathaniel. The werewolf. Nathaniel, when are you gonna start doing your Monday night spins again?
Come back.
Those things are pretty cool. You need to come back for your Monday night spins, man. Those are pretty sweet.
Come back, Nathaniel.
Trekker, talk to you later. Who else is here? And the people are like lurking.
Good night,
good night to you guys too. Good night, you guys. I think Dwayne's still out there, probably.
Good night, Dwayne.
Good night,
Walrus Gumboot, if you're still out there. Good night, John Boy. There you go.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.